Strap into your seats and get ready. It's time for the Mortarpod.
Hey, this is Alex Stevenson. Welcome to this week's episode of the Mortarpod. Jake and I are continuing to talk about Dragon's Maze, how it's impacted standard constructed, how it's impacted limited, obviously. We're looking forward to the full block drafts. This podcast will include a triple Dragon's Maze draft at the end of it. It's not super informative only because this is a very, very limited time window on when you can play triple Dragon's Maze, but it's the novelty of watching it is pretty fun. So I think it's enjoyable for that. Plus we end up with kind of a cool, unique little deck, so it's fun to watch for that reason, I think. I just want to remind you that this podcast is brought to you by SeemsGoodMagic.com. It's a website I created about 1.5 years ago due to the help of my friend Scott Varenkamp, so I'd like to plug him. Go to varencamp.com if you want some very good web design. He did a fantastic job. Can't give him enough credit for it. The website looks beautiful. I've had nothing but compliments about it. So VEHRENKAMP.com. Go visit him. He would really appreciate it, and I would too. You deserve good web design, so go to Scott Varenkamp. SeemsGoodMagic.com is going to be featuring plenty of full block Return to Ravnica drafts as soon as they hit online. This podcast, we talk about a range of topics. We talk about a potential standard constructed vampire deck. We just sort of look at all the standard vampires and examine them. We open a bunch of booster packs. You get to see what Jake and I would pick out of Dragon's Maze boosters. So we open them live and cracking some packs and talking about our picks. So hope you enjoy that. If you have any questions or comments about the podcast, email me at mortarpod@seemsgoodmagic.com. Follow us on Twitter at SeemsGoodMagic. You'll know when we're live streaming, when I've put up new draft videos, when I have new blogs. At SeemsGoodMagic. Follow us there. My blog, I try to do as often as possible, so if you want to follow me on that, know what I'm doing, know what kind of decks I'm playing in Standard, you'll learn a lot from that. So I think that's about it. Our live stream times are Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. We haven't missed a day yet, so stop out. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear feedback. Thanks a lot for listening to this podcast all this time and supporting us. We really appreciate it. All right, enjoy. What's going on, everybody? Alex and Jake here. Another podcast. Here to talk to you about what we think of Dragon's Maze so far. Talk about how it's impacted standard constructed, what we've drafted so far. So let's start with the draft, because we did it on Wednesday. We did our first full block draft. I wrote down my deck list because I wanted to talk about it. So I got Centaur's Herald, Scarred Guildmage, Gorehouse Chainwalker, Skinbrand Goblin, Brush Strider, Frostburn Weird, Ember Beast, Rubble Belt Maka, Gore-Clan Rampager, Smeltward Gatekeepers, 2 of them, Towering Thunderfist, 2 Scab-Clan Giants, 1 Rubble Hulk, 1 Rurik Thar the Unbowed. And then the spells that I had were Weapon Surge, Madcap Skills, Gruul Key Rune, Armed and Dangerous, Arrows of Justice, Explosive Impact, and Street Spasm. I had 3 Guild Gates for the 2 Smeltward Gatekeepers. If you don't remember this, the Smeltward Gatekeepers are the red 2/4 for 4, and they have active treason attached to them if you control 2 or more gates. This deck turned out really well for me. I first picked the Rurik Thar. He's the 6 mana 6/6 Vigilance Reach. He has to attack each turn, and if your opponent plays a non-creature spell...
Anybody.
Any if a player plays a non-creature spell, Rurik Thar deals 6 damage to him. Mm-hmm. He's a really powerful card. Yeah. What do you think about Rurik Thar in Constructed?
I think it's a good Titan,
Is it a worthy substitute?
I feel like it could be something that gets played. The only real issue with it is that there's so many good creatures right now that You know, I mean, he still does block everybody. 6/6 for 6, vigilance reach. So he always is attacking in and always staying back. They need to have a Thragtusk and another creature to kill it. You know?
Yeah,
So
it's
against
true.
the best
Yeah.
creatures in standard,
It's true.
he's really good.
The Thundermaw stopping
Yeah.
is actually
Mhm.
like probably one of the
Restoration Angel.
yeah.
Like takes 2 angels to take him down, and with 1 buff spell or like a Searing Spear on the last angel, you can kill them both too.
I mean, how many other creatures take down Thundermaw though,
Yeah.
like this? Because Thundermaw is always tapping their defenders, so it's like
Right.
this is a really unique card for stopping Thundermaw.
It's in a funny combination too to be against Thundermaw. Like you would think it would be a red and or a blue and white or something like that, but this one is good. It's very good. I really like him actually, and I mean, doesn't he take out every one of the like guild commanders like Niv Mizzet and Obsidian?
That's true.
And yeah, he's just really strong.
He is very powerful. It kind of sucks that they put the has to attack each turn if able on him.
But
because Acidic Slime is seeing a little bit of play right now.
It's a way to balance him out, though. Definitely. I like him. I think he's very good, and I think he has a place in Constructed.
Do you think he would have been too powerful as just a 6-mana 6/6 Vigilance Reach whenever a player casts a non-creature spell?
I think he
could have been Mythic at that point. Or?
Yeah, I think if he was Vigilance Reach with that ability, you switch it to whenever your opponent casts a non-creature spell, and then make him Mythic. Yeah.
Wow, that would be really good at Mythic too.
Yeah.
That would be really good if just an opponent. Yeah. So I mean,
the
attacking
thing about
each turn,
him though is your opponent wants to remove him, you don't. So you don't really want to play non-creature spells anyway.
That's true. I mean, he's a big deal, and in limited, he's such a house. He got Grizzly Spectacled, and it was like, okay, trigger 6 damage.
Yeah.
It still feels really worth it. Like I milled 6, but he ate 6, so
he had to take 6 from him. Yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah, Rubble Hulk came up huge. I got to do 14 damage to someone in one turn. I was telling you this already, but I used Rubble Hulk. I had 6 lands out, and I had the Rubble Belt Maka, which is the 4-mana 3/3 Blood Rush for 1 red. So then it was +9, and then I had the Weapon Surge, and that's the 1-mana target creature you control gets +1/+0 and gains first strike. Overload for 2. So I dealt 14 damage, which was exactly lethal on a Gore Clan Rampager. Felt really good. Weapon Surge is very strong trick. I actually really like this card a lot. I really think this like totally flips, just flips the combat to your favor so much.
Great in every red deck in this format.
I think I'm gonna say significantly better than Aerial Maneuver
and Dynacharge for sure. Might even be better than Swift Justice.
Yeah, I mean the overload on it is very, very strong.
Yeah.
Defensively, offensively.
Think of this in Rakdos, in Boros, and in Gruul.
Think of this card defensively.
Yeah.
This card is so sweet. It's like double block, first strike, don't lose anything. I don't know.
Kill 2 of your guys for my 1 instant that cost me 2 mana.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
And
I really like this card too.
And compare this card to like what Kindled Fury does. Kindled Fury was just 1 creature. This thing is.
It's the same cost for 1 creature, plus you can do it to all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much really better. I was really pleased with the 2 drops I had. I've always liked Brush Strider. He's the 2-mana 3/1 Vigilance from Return to Ravnica. I always liked this card. I think it's really in limited. It's very powerful. It was really cool in Golgari because you scavenge onto it and then you have an awesome like Vigilance attacker and blocker. I guess I didn't get any scavenge per se, but
it seems really good with Gruul too, though. Brush Strider.
Yeah, blood rushing on your Vigilance so you can still block. They're still not tempted.
Defense,
Gorehouse Chainwalker was like in triple Return to Ravnica. You could get some obnoxious Gorehouse Chainwalkers decks, like 4 or 5 of them sometimes, which was just out of control because they're so cheap and
efficient.
Yeah, and if you can consistently lay a 2-mana 3/2,
3/2 can't block does not matter.
Yeah, on turn 2.
Yeah.
SeemsGoodMagic was wonderful. He really takes the games over. If they flub on their mana at all, it like punishes so hard. Because then your strategy is just, oh, okay, you missed your land drop. I'll just activate my land, attack for 6, attack for 6. It's like 3-turn clock at that point. So I'm impressed with it. Starting on turn 4, a 3-turn clock just on its own, if you have the mana. It's pretty impressive. Smeltwort Gatekeepers played really well for me. The magic number's 3. At this point, I'm just decided on it. You want 3 guild gates, and I think at 3 guild gates, you can hit your gatekeepers fairly consistently. Like, I'm not gonna say every time, but I feel like I'm always pleased right at 3. I mean, you can obviously run more than that too, but I think 3 is like the minimum.
Yeah.
2 is not gonna work.
No, 2 doesn't work. Not consistently. Or, like, if you're going to play them, then plan on playing them as 2/4s and sometimes get the benefit for them. Do not plan on playing them as 2/4s with a benefit.
For some reason, 3 just seems to work more often than it should. I don't know. But I've run it a few times now, Gatekeepers alongside just 3 guild gates, and been really pleased with how often I can get the full benefit.
Yeah. What is it, like a 1/6 of your mana base is gates at 3?
Yeah, I guess that's right, isn't it?
So.
Yeah, close to that. What else was really good? Armed and Dangerous. I did a 4 for 2 on an opponent. I had a Centaur's Herald, which is the 1 mana 0/1, pay 3, sack it, get a 3/3 Centaur creature, and did Armed and Dangerous on it. So, and I didn't even realize that at the time. Later, we were doing a triple Dragon's Maze draft, and we just realized that you can split up the Armed and Dangerous. We should have thought of that before.
Yeah.
But what's really insane about that is like you can basically make an unblockable boosted double strike creature if you have a couple creatures out. So it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like Armed and Dangerous a lot. I guess I should read what they do. Okay, Armed is 2 mana. Target creature gets +1/+1 and double strike until end of turn. And Dangerous is all creatures able to block target creature this turn do so. And it's 6 mana total if you want to fuse them. And you can choose 2 different targets. So it's pretty crazy. But
so don't forget that.
But I chose I wanted him to block because he was tapped out and he had 4 creatures. He had like a Tithe Drinker, he had like a Basilica Guard or something. But it ended up I killed 4 of his creatures and it was insane. I did trade the Centaur's Herald and the Armed and Dangerous, but it was like he lost 4 creatures and I lost two spells. So and one of the spells was a 1-drop anyway, so it wasn't like a
big deal at all.
No, it wasn't a big deal. So this deck worked out really well for me, and I won the draft. Street Spasm was also a card from Return to Ravnica that had the potential to have tons of value, because it was one-sided. It's a red and X instant. It deals X damage to target creature without flying that you don't control, and it has Overload for 2 red and 2 X. So it may seem like it's just like overcosted, but it actually is very powerful. At 6 mana, you deal, at instant speed, at 6 mana, you deal 2 damage to all your opponent's creatures without flying. It's one-sided. It can be very good. So Street Spasm's not bad. I think it's a potentially really powerful effect. I mean, the other cool thing about it is it's like a heat ray almost. Not quite a heat ray because it doesn't hit flyers, but
yeah, but it can be used that way, which is like it's always the versatile. Yeah. The versatility that makes these cards better.
I felt like Overload. I initially thought it was going to be the most powerful ability, but I don't think it really is. Strangely, because it is a cool effect, but
it's so much more fun for like Commander than it is for constructed or limited play.
Well,
limited it has more applications than constructed, but Commander it has like it's just a better.
What are effect. I was thinking, are there any Overload spells that are played in constructed right now?
Vandal Blast is good for EDH at least, but in constructed, I play 1 Counterflux in my standard deck.
That one does it. Cyclonic Rift.
Yeah.
Can be playable.
Mizzium Mortars though.
Oh, Mizzium Mortars. That's okay. So Mizzium Mortars is like actually the staple Overload card being played right now, and I mean we got to give it up for strangely Mizzium Mortars in most people's opinions, I guess depending on the deck, but is better than Bonfire right now. I think it's that like 2 mana 4 damage is more useful than the potential explosive huge damage
Off the
that
top,
that Bonfire does. You'd rather have the consistency of I need to kill that Loxodon Smiter. I need to, you know, it's like
for sure. And there's so many good creatures that come out early now that you have to be able to deal
just
with
mortars. When
Yeah.
you're in a bind on turn 2 and you're like we're too slow, sometimes you gotta bust that mortars and just take out the creature,
Mhm.
try and slow it down. So that's kind of how I feel about Mizium mortars right now. I think it's really really powerful
Mhm. I
effect.
play like a total of 3 between my main deck and sideboard right now.
I'm sure you're satisfied with them too.
Yeah.
They're very good. Well, I mean, so oh yeah, let's talk about Scab-Clan Giant. This card is so good. I very very much like this card. I think it's quickly one of my favorite limited cards from Dragon's Maze. It's a 6 mana 4/5 giant warrior. When it enters the battlefield, it fights target creature and opponent controls, chosen at random. Excellent, excellent limited card. I've seen this thing. We had it played against us in a triple Dragon's Maze draft, and it just wrecked our face back to back. It was just like giant, kill that, giant, kill your other guy. It dismantles people really, really hard. And you might think because it's a random effect, you
It's
know,
not
as
as
good.
good, but it is very good.
It's very. I mean, if your 4/5 can't do anything to their board, you're in a really bad place
Well,
anyway.
Ravnica is a slower, like has slower creatures in general, and like the curve is a lot higher. So you're not hitting anything at 6 mana unless they're Gruul themselves. That's going to kill your Scab-Clan Giant most of the time.
Yeah.
You know.
So they're playing. You're saying they're playing creatures. Well, they're playing little dudes early,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and they're just a lot of creatures in this format in limited don't stack up to a 4/5 on turn 6 even.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Yeah, I agree with
The
that.
maze creatures are like the ones that can probably kill this most often, but
I've killed a Maze Sentinel with this
Yeah.
post combat.
yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, I attacked with like a Smeltwort Gatekeepers. They blocked with a Maze Sentinel, and then I played Scab-Clan Giant and killed it.
Yeah.
So he still can murder things. Post combat especially is really cool.
Yeah.
Because then if they have one creature that you couldn't kill with it, that's like a way to juke them. I don't know.
But
it worked out really well that way. I guess that situation wouldn't come up too terribly often, but
Yeah, but those 6 drops are like very few and far between as far as which ones are good. Because when you think of Esperia's Skywatch as like a good 6 drop before.
In return, yeah, that's true. And Scab-Clan Giant murders that.
Yeah, and like these maze creatures from this Dragon's Maze set, they're going to be really important to pick up, I think, because a lot of the
multicolored sets. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of the beef doesn't come in Gatecrash, and unless you're in like Simic Gruul, you know, it doesn't really come in those Gatecrash Return to Ravnica sets.
Yeah, the good big bangy creatures.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think Maze Behemoth and Abomination are probably the 2. Well, and Glider. Those are the 3 best, I guess.
Yeah, I don't like the Sentinel very much.
No, I think he's the worst. Vigilance isn't as useful as Flying, Death Touch, or Trample.
Yeah, Maze is actually very good because it like just kills on its own very easily. But yeah, Scab-Clan Giant, just tremendously like this card. I think it's easily a first pick actually. Just the 2-for-1 that you get out of it is like almost like this could be, compare this to like a Void Wielder or something that bounces a creature. Instead of like setting them back, this actually eats the creature. You know? Like just destroys it. It's almost like a Necrotal. It's like a It's like a 6 mana
with a huge body.
It's like a 6 mana 4/5 Necrotal, except it's chosen at random and there's a chance he dies. I guess there's drawbacks to it, but the drawbacks aren't as substantial as you think they might be.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it.
The point is, you're killing a creature when this enters the battlefield more often than not, and that's all you really can ask for, you know.
So it's like a Shriek. Maybe it's more like a Shriek Maw.
He can also kill another creature in combat then too.
Yeah.
You know, like
and 4/5 body is just
they're
excellent.
out the ability to double block him with that first creature you killed with him. So he's got a lot of value in him.
I agree. Talk about your draft deck. So that was pretty much what my draft deck was. I ended up going 3-0. We only had 10 players, so we only did 3 rounds
Yeah,
and just did payout.
Low.
Yeah, low turnout
turnout
for the first full block. A little disappointing, but
Yeah.
what did you run, Jake?
I started off trying to go for blue, black, green, and ended up going Golgari with splash white for Executioner Swing and Angelic Edict.
Do you remember what you first picked, or any notable Dragon's Maze cards that you had?
Pick. It couldn't have been. Oh, it was Vorel of the Hullclade.
Oh, okay. So Vorel is the Simic
and I
guild leader.
I thought, well, this is why I decided I wanted to go into Golgari Simic, was because they were all +1/+1 counters. You know?
He's a 3-mana 1/4, and he taps for a green and a blue, and for each counter on target artifact, creature, or land, put another one of those counters on that permanent. So it's kind of cool that he interacts really well alongside his guild in a very positive way.
So that was kind of my plan, was to pick up every Evolve guy I could get, and then every Scavenge guy I could get. But in this format, it's much harder to pick up those keyworded guys, actually. That was the thing that I found.
Dragon's Maze has few Evolve creatures. Battering Krasis.
It has few of every mechanic, actually.
Yeah.
It's like maybe two of each.
I mean, how many mechanics? I mean, there's like 11 mechanics in this set, because there's also
fuse counts. Yeah,
there's 11 mechanics in Dragon's Maze,
and fuse takes 10 of them.
Oh, and it's a small set too. So it's like a small set with 11 mechanics.
So fuse takes 10 slots. The guild gates take 10 slots, and then you have the Cluestones taking 10 slots out of this deck.
Yeah.
So this set. So there were already 30 spots gone. So they really couldn't push those other things that much. Did they even do a blue evolved creature this set?
Let's look. I wanted to look that up, because I'm not sure if we could remember. I'm not sure if we could remember another evolved creature from the new set.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this before. Battering Krasis,
which we knew about,
and
Renegade Krasis, which we knew about. Yeah, and that's it.
So Renegade Krasis is the rare, and it's a 3-drop 3/2. It is really good, but it's a 3-drop 3/2 Beast Mutant with Evolve, and whenever it evolves, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. It's a really cool card with that strategy.
They didn't really get a chance to expand on any of their keywords that much. It looks like they did. What must have they done? They didn't do any green evolve. They didn't do green blood rush. They didn't do any green populate. Did they do scavenge out of this set?
Let's check it out.
In green.
It's funny how they have Anir and Scavenger on there from Torment. Let's see. New Scavenge.
Wow.
They've used Scavenge quite a bit. Thrashing Moss Dog and this is a good creature. He's a 4-drop 3/3 with Reach, and he has Scavenge for 6. Actually, a really good card from Dragon's Maze. And Viral's is the rare. So it looks like they did a common and a rare for each mechanic.
Yeah, but that's strange that they. So they
that's how they extended it.
So one mechanic got the rare monocolor.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there's Evolve and there's Blood Rush out of those two, and then what were the blue mechanics? Was there? Oh, of course, Trait Doctoring. So that's the rare blue Cipher.
The Cipher.
So then black would have not Scavenge and not Cipher.
Would Extort. Oh, that has the Pontiff
it has the Pontiff. So then white would have not Extort.
The Battalion. And it's got Tajic or whatever.
No, then that's not the right one. So then it's not Extort, not Tajic.
Why? He has Battalion.
It's the Populate one. No, it's because there's Lavinia, Tajic. These are all ones that contain the keyword and are rare.
Okay.
Virals, So not Gruul. What's... Oh, we already got a red white.
Oh, the Pyrewild Shaman. He has.
Yeah, he's the Blood Rush. But I'm trying to think of... So it's not Blood Rush, and it's not Battalion. Exava. And then...
And Exava's got the Unleash.
Yep, and then there's one more blue one. Lavinia.
From Azorius, Detain or something.
No,
She's got the Detain.
can't be green-blue. Can't be red-blue either.
Trying to think of all the. Wait, is
No,
there?
it can't be red-blue.
What was Overload from the new set? Is there Overload in the new set? There must
Well,
be.
there's Weapon Surge.
Oh, that's right. Is there?
Oh, Dragon Shift. Okay, so Dragon Shift is the
Oh, I see.
the
Okay.
dual color with... Okay.
Dragon Shift is a 3-mana instant. Until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a 4/4 blue and red dragon, loses all abilities and gains flying. And it's got Overload for 7. I think it's a cool card, but I still don't think it's that great, even in limited.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's basically like Wings of Velasfell. But anyway, so each mechanic has, or each...
No. So it's like each monocolor or each color got one card with the keyword mechanic at rare from one of its things. So there's Scion of Vitu-Ghazi, Trait Doctoring, Pontiff of Blight, Pyrewild Shaman, and what's the evolve? Renegade Krasis. And then each mechanic that didn't get a monocolored one got a multicolored one. So it's
Cool.
Dragon Ship, Tajic, Exava, Lavinia, and Varals. And 4 of those were legendary creatures.
That's
Dragon
interesting.
Ship is the only one that couldn't be.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Why couldn't it be? Because creatures
'Cause
can't
it's
have
Overload,
Overload. Yeah.
But
It's unfortunate that it's kind of a weak spell, too.
yeah, so each mechanic then only got 2 new cards for it. Overload got Weapon Surge and Dragon Shift. Unleash got Exava, and I can't even think of what the other one would be. Oh, Rakdos Drake, of course. And well, we saw the Scavenge, we saw Evolve, Wake the Reflection, Scion of Vitu-Ghazi is Populate.
That's awesome.
Maka and Pyrewild Shaman. So it's interesting how they had to work this, but
And it's cool, at least, if they were going to do a small expansion to each mechanic, that they at least gave it, like, a cool rare.
yeah.
You know? Instead of just, like, a common and uncommon.
I
or
really
something.
wish they would have done 3
Yeah,
and done like
a little bit more.
done like the uncommon in the off color. You know what I mean?
Common, uncommon, rare wouldn't have been out of the question. Just
No,
expand for each one.
I'm trying to think of what. Like, there's some uncommons that are just like, okay, that's like cool, but like Species Gorger, you know, that's cool, but it's been done before, and like it works really well with the mechanic. But maybe you could have made it an evolved creature, you know.
So then it like
at least
goes,
triggered off itself. And the same with like Maud the Obsidian. Like, why not slap Extort onto that? You know, like, what is that going to change?
What was Maw of the Obsidian? Is that 3/3 creature or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have to. And you can like sack creatures and make all your other creatures bigger.
Yeah.
That was a strange one.
Yeah, to me it doesn't even fit the strategy as well as.
Oh yeah,
other
we
cards
talked
would,
about the
but-
picture being really crazy
Yeah,
too,
it's, like,
because it's
disgusting.
it's like a thrall it's a crazy thrall. It's like people
Sacrificing themselves to it.
yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, 3/3 for 5. Yeah, I haven't played it yet. Did you play it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But they could have put Extort onto that.
I think we digressed a lot because we were talking about your deck. We can we can flash back to that though. It was cool examining like how they implemented all the new or all the old mechanics from the block into the new set.
Yeah.
To make space
yeah.
in a, what was that, 166 card set? Isn't that what it was?
And really 130 something because you had
the lands.
The 30 cards that were all cycles, you know.
Yeah. Bringing back all the guild gates.
And, yeah. So it's cool that they were able to do what they did. I wish they would have done one more card for each because all of their mechanics were sweet. They did a really good job on the mechanics for this block, and it would have been just nice to touch on it a little further. And even if the cards didn't necessarily make sense having those mechanics, like Maw of the Obsidian obviously doesn't, but you could have made Species Gorger like a 3/4 or something, and gave it that ability, made it cost 4 mana. Is that the dragon?
Yeah.
Okay. So there was place to expand, I think, a little more, but that's fine. And like about my deck, I guess I had a lot of fun with it.
You had like Axebane Guardian too.
I did get double Axebane and a Trestle Troll out of Return to Ravnica, and I wasn't even going for that strategy. It just happened in the last pack, and so I didn't really have anything to ramp into. I didn't even really have behemoths to speak of, so or maze. I'm sorry, maze creatures. Not behemoths.
You didn't get any jailbreakers or anything?
No, I didn't get any jailbreakers. So it was like it was underwhelming to get those in the last pack and then not have anything to ramp into. I did get one Horncaller's Chant, so
I kind of want to look up defenders from Dragon's Maze. That kind of I think we talked about this, but I want to see which ones in particular would work well alongside Axebane Guardian.
yeah. It's actually kind of funny. I don't feel like there are a ton.
Hired Torturer is
He's
actually
good.
an interesting one. I think he's fine as a 3-mana 2/3 defender. Like he doesn't really play extremely well with like Rakdos because he can't attack.
No, he's actually.
But
I think he fits a better role in Dimir.
he's
where
good. He's excellent in Golgari because he
Yeah.
plays well alongside Axebane Guardian, and he has your mana sink for Axebane Guardian too. So he's actually a cool card for that. Murmuring Phantasm being the other defender from Dragon's Maze. What do you think about this card? It's a 2-mana 0/5 spirit.
I think
defender.
if you want to push the Doorkeeper deck, he and the Nivik Cyclops are your best things to get out of the first pack. But the Doorkeeper deck's not that great, and then you are going to want Lava Cruise too. But Nivik Cyclops alone is good. So if you're
Oh, I
picking
forgot.
those
That's from. So they actually expanded Defender with 3 cards.
and Clear the Path to get rid of defenders. I do like Clear the Path though.
As like I said, you think it's a legitimate
Yeah, I
sideboard
do
option?
because of Basilica guards mostly. If you're in the Extort deck and you've got like 2 of those, I would sideboard in one Clear the Path. To
Defender,
take those out.
if you didn't know, was like a sub theme, like from Return to Ravnica, because they had Doorkeeper, which was a 2-drop 0/4 that like mills your opponent for how many defenders you control. There was the Axebane Guardian that we were just talking about that Jake got 2 of, which really allowed you to do some cool like rampy 4-color crazy decks. You could just splash like 7 drops if you like. In Triple Return to Ravnica, you could, if you picked up 4 Axebane Guardians, you could literally do anything you wanted.
Yeah.
You could pick up any number of. I've had it before too. Like,
I wish I would have lived that dream though.
I almost want to. I kind of want to show this deck because I feel like it was just like I took a picture of it. This crazy Axebane Guardian deck I had. Trying to see if this is the right. No, that's not it. Oops. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Okay. So this deck was so sick. So I had a triple Return to Ravnica deck that was a Grizzly Salvage, Gatekeeper Vine, Augur Spree, 4 Axebane Guardians, Sewer Shambler, Eyes in the Skies, Launch Party, Azorius Justiciar, Golgari Decoy, 3 Ogre Jailbreakers, a Perilous Shadow, Braska, Fall of the Gavel, 2 Courses Accord, Angel of Serenity, Terrace, and Horncaller's Chant. Yeah, so I opened Braska and Angel of Serenity, and just was, this deck was so fun. God, this deck was insane. But if you look at just the sheer amount of defenders I have, it's like out of control. It's absolutely out of control. It's Gatekeeper Vine, 4 Axebane sets, 5, 3 Ogre Jailbreakers, so that's 8. So 8 defenders. And like Axebane in multiples is just insane. And if you look at all the colors I'm playing, like Fall of the Gavel is actually just like ridiculous in this deck because you always are going to have the mana to cast it.
And they never see it coming.
No. Fall of the Gavel was actually like, looks so underwhelming.
And the same with Augur Spree too.
A lot of people like kind of have talked trash about Fall of the Gavel, but they don't understand how powerful of a spell it can be in the right deck. It's probably going to be worse in full block. It's going to be harder to get that online. But in my opinion, still, I think it's cool. Yeah, but this, I definitely won this draft, and it was insane. Angel, like ramping into Angel is just like absolutely insane. If they've even gotten a good creature turn progression, it totally just doesn't give them a chance to do anything. And Jailbreaker, like if you look, was actually pretty good in this deck because I had a couple gates, so they eventually could become win cons in here too. Yeah, this deck was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think Jailbreaker was a surprisingly like
Powerful card.
efficient card
Mhm.
for being black and everything about it, I guess.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be just as or even more powerful in full block because you're most likely going to be picking up a gate from your Dragon's Maze pack. So as long as you have one gate, Jailbreaker is at least going to be able to attack. And Gate Creeper Vine like finds your gate for you, so it basically turns on your Jailbreaker. Actually, Gate Creeper Vine is going to be much better in full block now that we have the Gatekeepers from Dragon's Maze. You just need one component, and then once you find your Gate Creeper Vine, you've turned on your Gatekeepers. So that's kind of cool.
I feel like Ogre Jailbreaker might have made more sense in red, but I never really complained about it in black.
If you can attack with it, it feels so efficient in black because we've talked about this before.
That is not a like black power, toughness, and cost.
The real true other exception is also from Return to Ravnica, and that's in the what's the 5-drop hybrid green and red? It's like the fire elemental, green and black.
Oh, Golgari
Longlegs.
Yeah.
Golgari Longlegs is also a really efficient black creature, I think. As a 5-mana, 5/4.
Definitely.
I mean, they've had fire elemental, I guess, in red.
They don't do it in black though. I'm trying to think.
Well, they do now, I guess.
I feel like 5 cost in black has traditionally been like 4/5 with a disability, or like
there was the one from
Rotted Legion from Core.
Was that the one that came in tapped?
Yeah, and then if it didn't come in tapped, it's a 5-mana 4/3. Zombie Goliath.
And that was from Future Sight.
Massive Ghouls was 5-mana 5/3.
Oh, okay. So but that was lacking the toughness,
But it still had double black and 3 colorless. So that extra black got you an extra power. So 5 mana can get you 5/3 in black.
What was your record overall for the night with your deck?
2-1.
And did you have any memorable plays or spell situations?
I do remember killing something with a Karazda Gorgon, but I can't remember what it was. I had Give and Take in my deck, and I was using Give exclusively.
Can you explain what those cards are? Which one?
Karazda Gorgon is the 2/5/4/5 Death Touch, and 2 colorless. Remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control to give a target creature -1/-1 until end of turn.
And
I used it to kill Tajic. That was what it was.
Oh, nice. Now, so that's really interesting because there's really not a ton of ways to take out Tajic.
Yeah, so that's really funny because this is one of those cards that's like, oh, I can't kill an indestructible creature with it under normal circumstances, but oh wait, its ability lets me kill indestructible creatures.
That's really true. So actually, Karazda Gorgon can kill anything. It can kill any creature.
Yep.
I guess it can't kill things that are pro-green.
So Woodlot Crawler is a big problem with this for this one.
Yeah, I agree.
But it does kill everything else pretty much, and that's really good. Trying to think. What else did I do? I don't think I had any other really memorable plays. I felt really good about killing Tajic.
Yeah, Tajic's a big deal. Tajic is a really big deal. And I think it's easily a first pickable card. Can make you go down that battalion route for sure. It's just worth it. He's very hard to deal with.
If you manage to pick up like a couple Karazda Gorgons, I wouldn't mind picking up forced adaptations out of Gatecrash.
I could see that.
Maybe a 1 or 2 of those.
He's a good engine, and just playing the forced adaptation on him would be cool.
Putting it on like early Spire Traces is fine too to get early damage.
And that was that was a Gatecrash strategy. We never played it, but we've lost against it. It was as weak as it feels because it's kind of slow. It can take over the game against the right deck.
And a lot of flyers are like 1 or 2 toughness anyway. So Karazda Gorgon coming out with that Spire Tracer set up early is actually like, oh, you have a blocker? I'll just kill it first. You know?
Yeah, that's a good point. And it changes combat too. It makes
Mm-hmm.
like combat almost impossible for them at a certain point.
Yeah, because it almost is like giving +1/+1 to a different creature, removing a +1/+1 counter to give it another creature you control +1/+1 in combat.
Now, I guess we should mention, despite the fact that they only extended each mechanic by 2 cards in Dragon's Maze, you can still kind of consider this an extension of Scavenge because it interacts so well alongside its Scavenge.
You know, and that's kind of how I was thinking with Varel too. I was like, oh, this interacts so well with like Scavenge and with Evolve,
yeah.
so I'll just do that. That doesn't mean you're gonna get those cards in the end, you know.
That's true. Well, if there's anything we've learned from drafting so much, it's really that you just have to draft the open cards and strategy and color. You have to look at where the most powerful spells are coming from when you're getting past a couple down. Really look for that open signal. Like if you see like a snap first pick, you know, in your third pick of pack 1, think, you know, wow, maybe I should be in this.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be going down this route.
I should have gone into Ortsov a lot earlier. Like I took that Varel and I was like, I'm gonna push this.
I know. We were both like, actually, Jake was on my right during the draft, and he was passing me Tide Drinkers, and I was like, oh my god, this isn't good. Because I had already at that point committed to my Rurik Thar, and I was like, oh.
Well, and the guy next to you drafted green blue as well, like.
Yeah.
And then the guy 2 spots away from me drafted Bant, so like everyone was cutting green blue, everyone was cutting green in our corner too. You know, like there were no green cards getting out of the corner that we were in, and it just was not. It wasn't the greatest. I should have been in Ortsov, like, just from the get-go because of all those Tide Drinkers that we saw, but whatever.
Yeah, and Tide Drinkers, if you don't know, I really like this card. I haven't got a chance to play it yet, but I just know I like it.
I think I even picked up a last pick to the Death List, too, which I think is a decent card in Limited.
Yeah, it's interesting. Oh, the Axebane.
Yeah, and I had the Axebanes, too, so I, like...
You could, well, no, you weren't in the colors for it. Though,
I wasn't like still, double white.
If you had 4 Axebanes, yes, you could have slammed it, and it would just annihilate people.
Just one more defender would have worked.
It would have easily killed people with like 4 Axebanes. But Tide Drinker is a 2-mana 2/1 lifelink extort vampire. It's Orzhov color, so it's just a white and a black. I really like the picture too. It's like some cool looking vampire chick sitting on like a throne. Are those like just statues?
Those are gargoyles.
Are they
They're Orzhov gargoyles. I don't know.
They're she's cool though. And
she has like a bleeding out its mouth.
Is that like a pile of bones?
Yeah,
or like built out of bones?
Is like totally built out of bones.
Is it a throne of bones?
I think it's a throne of bones and gold.
But Tide Drinker is really cool, and I think we talked about this a little bit on the last podcast. I'm not sure, but I think we did. But the vampire strategy is like really cool. It would be cool to see a powerful constructed deck come out of that. I don't think it's quite there yet.
Oh, it's so close if it's not there.
All right, well, we can talk about that a little bit because that would be fun to be able to do. But there's your 2 drops I really like: Tide Drinker, Blood Artist, Bloodthrone Vampire, Vampire Interloper.
And at least Interloper is a flyer.
I mean, you do have Sorin, which is cool. You have Nocturnus in Standard right now, which is a little bit unusual. You have Nighthawk. So there are very stronger captains.
Gold.
Falconwrath Aristocrat. So really you can do the white, black, red vampires to get access to all of the strongest ones.
You do have 2 Vampire Lords with Nocturnus and Stormcrypt Captain. So
they're a little bit expensive, but the deck
you don't
is
have to play
no, you can play
a set of Vampire Nocturnus either.
You don't necessarily have to do the Omega aggro version of it either. You can do more of a mid-rangey.
Yeah, well, if you're playing Blood Artist, you're probably not
more mid-rangey. Yeah, absolutely. Although Blood Artist is kind of cool that he becomes attacker with Nocturnus and Stormcrypt Captain. You know?
Yeah.
I need to put it in Standard. Standard vampires. And this is a Cavern of Souls environment as well.
Yeah.
So, Balustrade Spy. So Blood Artist, Blood Baron of Vizkopa. This is the new one from Dragon's Maze. It's a mythic, 5-drop, 4/4, lifelink, pro-white, pro-black. As long as you have 30 or more life and an opponent has 10 or less life, it gets +6/+6 and has flying. A little hard to get it to a 10/10 flying, I think.
Hmm.
A little harder than you might think. But the fact that it's pro white and pro black is really relevant.
Yeah,
I think it's
definitely.
really good. We were talking about all the spells that it has protection from. It's like protection from Oblivion Ring, Detention Sphere, Hi, Boros Reckoner, you can't block me. Restoration Angel can't do anything. Zoria's Charm is probably the most important one since that's just like the go-to blue-white control.
Like, just to talk
removal.
about Boros Reckoner, it is like the absolute perfect counter to it because it's like, I gain 4 life. Okay, you deal 4 damage to me. Like, I don't give a shit. You know.
They can't. Yeah, and they can't block.
Yeah.
It's just really strong. And the resto thing. So what are they gonna do? Even if they could block, this thing would still kill it. But I mean, the things that do kill it are relevant and played. Mizium Mortars is very much
the biggest one.
Is very much played.
Also gets unsummoned easily, and that's seeing a little bit of play now. As you can't charm it, so that's good.
Yeah, no, Zoria's Charm is actually super relevant. But you can't. What else can't you do to it though? I feel like there's even more. You can't.
I think the list of things you can't do to it that's relevant and standard is probably actually a lot bigger than the list of things you can do to it that's relevant.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You can't murder it. That I don't even know what to go to. You can't Orzhov Charm it.
Yeah, I mean it really comes down to, are you playing red for Mizium Mortars or blue for Unsummon? Because those are the two. Or green Thragtusk. Are you playing Thragtusk so you can block this?
Yes, Thragtusk can do it. A flipped Huntmaster can block it.
No, oh yeah, it can. Yeah, it can.
So
actually,
that's like
Huntmaster and Friend can block it and kill it the turn it comes out.
That's true. So there's significant cards that are played right now that can block it. But the whole point of it is, think of this card alongside Nocturnus, think of this card alongside Stromkirk Captain. A 5/5 lifelink first strike would be awesome. Then it's like a little mini Baneslayer almost.
Yeah. Thragtusk is actually a really good counter to this because of the 5 life your opponent gains too.
Oh, so it's even more difficult to get it online. I feel like you're hardly even playing this card for, I mean, that's just like
icing on the cake. I know, but because it's literally like, oh, this is a 1-turn clock now if you're playing it at that. But if you're aggressive enough and this is your 5-drop, that could be your plan, to just kill him in one swing the next turn. And it can't be answered by most means as a 10/10,
I don't think it's seeing much play though, sadly. The cool thing is it works alongside Obsidian fairly well. It's like if you're that sort of,
I think this could be a good finisher for Esper, maybe. And yeah, it does work well with Obsidian.
It's on color and
the life gain, life loss is
actually it gets you to that point. It actually gets you to that point in 5 turns like perfectly, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But whatever.
But Obsidian is just good on its own anyway.
Yeah. So then maybe you don't need the Blood
But this
Baron.
guy is pro white, pro black. So in the mirror, in Esper mirror, this actually might be a lot more relevant. Out of the board, maybe it is a much better card.
Just really not much you can do about it. Yeah. Blood Crazed Neonate is an old one from Innistrad. That's in red. It is a 2-drop, but see, this is why I didn't want to play that Riot Piker deck in that Triple Dragon's Maze.
But I think you undervalued our Phyto Bursts and the amount of Gruul War Chants we had together.
True. My problem, that's true. My problem with Phyto Burst is that
it opens you more up to removal than an instant speed.
That, as well as they're just like, okay, I'll just chump it, so I'll trade my worst creature.
But that's why Gruul War Chant would have been great there, because then it's
true. But then you have
to double block, and we will be killing 2 of your creatures.
I don't know. I guess we could have gone that route. I felt like it was better because it's a slow format to just go for the more value creatures to go, because we had the Gatekeepers, and if we were doing the Riot Piker thing, I think we weren't doing the Gatekeepers. And I preferred to play the Gatekeepers plus like the Beetle form mages that we'd gotten. Like, I think the other way we were straight Gruul. We were straight Gruul, but like we were just totally relying on getting with Riot Pikers early and then finished cleaning up with Gruul War Chants. We did have 3, so that was a legitimate strategy we could have done.
Form mages. Whatever.
No, we weren't going to play I don't think we weren't going to play the Beetle form if we did the Riot Piker, because that kept us out of blue. That was like the advantage of it. But regardless, I guess we're talking about something people don't know what we're talking about. Bloodline Keeper is another standard vamp that really surprisingly never saw a ton of play, but
He's
it's
so
still
good.
but it's still worth not a substantial amount of money, but he's like $3 to $5.
He's casual playable. People really like him.
He is a powerful creature
Unanswered,
as well.
yeah, he's a pain in the ass
So
completely.
it's actually really strange that I really expected to see more of him, I think. But the format is just so quick, and there are such powerful spells right now that he usually is just
You kind of
he just
have
dies.
to be, mono black, clean up early aggro, and then play this guy and ride him out if you wanted to do that strategy. Or probably not mono black, but
Dark Imposter. That's kind of funny. He is a vamp. I've forgotten that he's a vamp. He's a 3-mana 2/2 Vampire Assassin from Avacyn Restored, and then he has 6-mana Exile target creature and put a +1/+1 counter on him.
good
And
in
he has
Commander.
all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with it. And you know, I had completely forgotten that he gets all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with it. That's actually really interesting. And cool. He is a commander like staple. I remember I got a foil version of this card and I put it on the eBay store and it sold like in a snap of a finger. They were like, "Ooh, I want that for my EDH deck." So it was kind of cool.
He is cool.
Yeah, he is cool. He's what's his picture? What's he doing?
He's just devoured somebody and
Oh,
stole their
wow.
clothes.
Whoa, I totally never looked at this picture super close up. It's actually really gory.
Yeah.
It's like just a
And you
corpse.
can see it's like he's
got the trickle of blood on there.
blood on his mouth. Ah, this is a nice life. I can see why you were so desperate to keep it.
That's a good flavor text. I'm gonna go to the bathroom quick. You want to look at more vamps?
Yeah.
Talk about any substantial ones?
Driver of the Dead, so good.
Unfortunately, no.
I thought this card was like a cool way to show what had happened though, to the vampires in Innistrad after Avacyn was restored. Some vampires resorted to corpse trading after Cathars burned their estates and drove them from their ancestral feeding grounds. That's nice. Duskmantle Prowler. I'm glad they did this card in M13, at least, just to show the Ravnica was still around, to give a little preview of it. Even though Exalted has nothing to do with Ravnica, and a haste vampire doesn't make sense in Ravnica either. Alright. Duskmantle Seer is okay, but not really the greatest. I wonder if this card will see some play after rotation, if there's a decent deck out there for him. But a flying 4/4 for 4 is really good. His art's sweet. Good job, Kev Walker. Birdwall Ripper. Here's a good one. Everyone remembers this card. Falconwrath Aristocrat.
Still played and constructed.
It's so good. Her dress is awesome. You can only wear that if you can fly, by the way.
Are you looking at a close-up of her or something?
Well, we're just zoomed in on the art right now. I'm gonna use the body.
Oh, weird. So it's actually like not a red dress. It's just like drenched in blood.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. You know, I don't think I ever realized that either. Because it's supposed to be a white dress.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, but Falconwrath Aristocrat's one of the few vampires that seeing a ton of play right now. It's just so powerful for the aggressive decks. The funny thing is when it came out, it's from Dark Ascension. At the time, it wasn't really played because I guess I'm trying to think why it wasn't played that much. I guess Delver was around at that time, and there's probably a removal spell that was highly played. I guess it just dies. It still dies to just Tragic Slip. But do you remember why Aristocrat wasn't played, Jake? Like originally?
I think people were really excited about Tragic Slip, actually.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Tragic Slip was just so played. It still is played, but for some reason Aristocrat's just much better. I mean, like I said, Delver was a deck. Delver was the deck at the time, but I feel like there was something else. I forget what it is now that was really like impeding this. Is there anything from Scars of Mirrodin
yes,
block?
It was.
There must have been something from Scars of
Oh my
Mirrodin.
god. Ink Moth Nexus.
Ink Moth is a pretty good answer for Aristocrat. They can
no. I just mean that was the reason to play Tragic Slip. and so that's why this card wasn't seeing play then.
Oh, that's right.
Because
Tragic Slip was better because it was an answer for Ink Moth, but additionally, Ink Moth does block and kill Aristocrat too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So there was also that, I'm sure.
So the decks, that's kind of funny. The decks that would be playing Tragic Slip to kill the Ink Moths would have a good out, and the decks that are playing the Ink Moths would have a good out. So that I think that is what it was.
I think -1/-1 counters, and you could also play what was that? What was the card? Virulent Wound.
Oh yeah.
And that was seeing play too back then. So there were just a lot of outs during Scar's block. Any infect creature in general would kill this thing.
Yes, this card is hot now though. It's good. It's a cool card for the black-red zombies deck. Even though it's not a zombie, it's just such a good place to top out at to get that damage in. I mean, the curve was always Gravecrawler into, now you have Blood Scrivener, Geralt's Messenger, Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. A lot of damage. Pretty cool.
Aristocrat, much better now.
Falcon Wrath Exterminator was always a pretty interesting card.
Yeah, that art is so sweet. It makes him look so cool, but...
What is he doing? He's firing guns?
It looks like he's burning an entire city to the ground. But he's a 1/1. That pings.
You're right. It's crazy. He's a... is he using like little bolts of fire?
It looks like they're crossbow bolts enchanted with fire or something.
He's just kind of a malicious looking vampire. You just look at it, you're looking at his back and his profile, and he's kind of looks gleeful in killing people. And in the background you just see an entire city engulfed in flames.
It's cool art.
It is cool art, but he's just a 2-mana 1/1 vampire archer, which is also he's probably the only vampire archer in Magic, I would venture to say.
Venture to say that's true, yeah.
So whenever he deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and then pay 3, and he deals damage to target creature equal to the number of +1/+1 counters on him. In Limited, loved this card.
Yeah, this card
Absolutely
was amazing.
Wonderful card in Triple Avacyn, which was like the worst draft environment ever, but this was actually a good card. One of the few in that.
Well, didn't they not have ways to put +1/+1 counters on things in Avacyn either? Like, in Dark Ascension, they had Howl, whatever the... Howl of the Night Pack, or whatever.
Yeah, the one that did from Dark Ascension that
With
was
Morbid.
+1/+1 or +3/+3 with Morbid.
And Increasing Savagery, so there were like actual other ways to put +1/+1 counters on things.
Yeah, and now you have Burst of Strength, which is cool with this guy. You also have, I mean, not in the draft environment. I'm trying to think
of this guy.
Yeah, this guy's cool with Forced Adaptation. I'm actually thinking about some way you could make this cool with Constructed quickly too.
They should have made a card that gave each creature you controlled Evolve or whatever.
Common Bond.
Yeah,
Puts
Common
2
Bond.
on them.
Travel Prep.
Travel Prep's a good one. Is there anything else?
There's got to be one
sure
more
there's
that
a
we're
few.
not thinking of.
But anyway, Exterminator would be cool. I wish it could deal it to a player as well. It is just like a little creature removal only.
But as it gets bigger, the damage he deals to, the more often than not, he'll be able to remove the blockers and then get bigger from dealing damage to your opponent. And deal more damage over time anyway.
In Triple Avacyn, there was the Miracle plus...
Blessings of Nature.
Yeah, Blessings of Nature. So there was +4/+3/3 or +4/+4?
+4/+4.
Wow.
4 +1/+1 counters distributed as you choose.
Yeah, that just made this guy out of control.
Yeah.
Okay, Falcon Wrath Marauders. Unfortunately, a card that never quite lived up to what it could potentially do.
I feel like this card could have been 4 mana.
Or maybe a 2/3. So it didn't die to everything.
Yeah, maybe a 3/2.
It's a 5 mana.
Excuse me.
It's a 5 mana 2/2 flying haste vampire warrior, and when it deals combat damage to a player, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it.
I do like the art. I just don't think the card is that great. Is it showing the same guy moving that quickly? Is that what it is? No, because it's Marauders.
I feel like it should have, instead of doing 2 +1/+1 counters, it should have doubled.
Put a +1/+1 counter on it, then double the number of +1/+1 counters on it?
Well, pretty much, just whatever way would make it go 4/4, 8/8, 16/16.
That would be the way to do it. Because you'd put 2 on then the first time.
Just,
then you'd put
can't you just
4
say
on,
put +1/+1
or
counters?
6 on.
Can't you just say put +1/+1 counters on it equal to its power?
Yeah, you could.
but he never caught on. He was too weak,
He's way too weak.
too slow. I think I've seen people try him, but he just in limited he was actually really funny
Yeah.
because he could destroy people.
He
But,
was totally
Yeah.
game ender in limited.
But unfortunately constructed. And you're right, the picture is really cool, so it's kind of unfortunate. It's just a couple dudes.
I think it is a couple different.
Their
vampires.
wings are highly unusual, I will say.
I think they're spectral wings, not necessarily real.
Well, what's interesting about that is typically vampires can fly, so why would these need spectral wings?
Just for the look of it. To
Maybe
look like,
maybe because they're the red vampires, and the red vampires are typically the ones that don't fly. Like Stromkirk Captain doesn't fly,
Could be,
Neonate doesn't fly. What's the 3-drop Ministrad where you get a +1/+1 counter on them whenever they deal damage? The 2/2 for 3.
Wall Ripper, yeah.
Well, there's that one from Dark
from
Ascension,
Innistrad.
but I'm talking from Stromkirk Noble. Was Rakeshare it? Maybe.
It was
that
a 3/3 or a 3-mana 2/2.
Yes, it was that one for sure. I'm sure we'll run across it. Falconwrath Noble. That card was so good from Innistrad. Still in Standard. Doesn't really see any play because Blood Artist is around, which is
much better.
Yeah, for the cost. But this is a 4-mana 2/2 flyer, and whenever it or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Possibly people don't quite understand why it's so good when they first see it. But God,
in limited, it was just like.
Do you remember if you ever had like 2 nobles out too? And the beauty of it was evasive and it dealt damage, so it even like pushed the scales even more at a certain point. You felt like, oh man, I can't even take another 2 damage hit here, or else no more creatures can die.
And if you were black-white, you had access to Midnight Haunting and Lingering Souls.
You had access to Selfless Cathar to even like make them bigger, Cathar. Make them lose.
Weird. Any of the Undying guys were amazing with this card too. Once
because they'd come back and have to die again. Yeah, absolutely.
This card was so obnoxious.
This guy had multiples was just
if you were at
wonderful.
8 life or lower and this guy got landed, you were just like no, because then no matter what, you were losing the battle.
Yeah, he was really one of my favorites from Triple Innistrad and the block too.
Countering him's a good strategy.
I'd say Falconwrath Torture is a 3-mana 2/1 vampire. Sacrifice a creature, he gains flying, and if the sacrificed creature was a human, put a +1/+1 counter on him. In limited, saw a little bit of play. I guess it's kind of cool that he's a sack outlet, but I think he's just a little too clunks McGrunks to be playable.
He's dumb. He's not even cool. Like, his picture is so cool looking, but he just sucks so bad.
He was. I feel like there were some interesting things you could do with him. Having a sack outlet in limited was actually
it was good.
Was an ability you kind of wanted.
Were there things that were worth countering spells in that limited environment that were worth? Oh, it was to trigger your Morbid. That was what it was.
Oh yeah. Sack outlet was actually huge in that block because of Morbid.
Yeah.
That's true. Good point. Fiend of the Shadows, interesting, but Havengall Vampire was actually a really cool Avacyn Restored Vamp. This is a 4-mana 2/2. Whenever it deals damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever another creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on him.
Yeah.
In limited, he was really strong.
That card was cool.
I felt like you never, I don't know. The 2 ways worked really well together for making him bigger. Heirs of Stromkirk was actually an excellent.
That card was annoying.
Avacyn Restored card. 4-mana 2/2 Intimidate. When it deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. It was a really good card because it got in, and it's kind of funny that the red vampires don't have flying, but some of them are evasive. Like the Stromkirk Noble
Intimidate and can't block Crossway Vampire.
And the Noble couldn't be blocked by humans, so he was like a little bit evasive as well.
I think it's like they use charm magic, the red ones do. And that's like that's the idea behind the red ones can't be blocked.
I like
Crossway Vampire charms you into, because I'm sure we'll see it. But
I like the flavor of the red vampires. They're an interesting Innistrad
I liked
addition.
It too. It took at first everyone was like red, but then it actually made a lot of sense once they showed us what they were doing with them.
Markov Blademaster is interesting because it never got to see any play. It's a 3-mana 1/1 double strike vampire warrior, and when it deals combat damage to a player, you get to put the +1/+1 counter on it. So in limited, it was very good. Never saw any constructed play really. Is there enough double strikers right now to make like a reasonable double strike deck? Isn't there a 2-drop double
The
striker
problem
right
is
now?
that
Or
Silverblade Paladin's so much better than this, you know.
I agree.
And fencing
Fencing
ace
Ace
is
is
the
the
2-drop,
2-drop one.
so
Yeah.
you're already in white.
Mm-hmm.
And like, why play a 1/1 for 3 that's double strike that has a like attack on ability when you could play fencing ace for 2
Mm-hmm.
and actually play something on turn 3 that boosted it.
That's true. At rare, especially too.
Yeah.
You'd hoped it at least been like a 1/2 maybe, or a 2/1.
2/2. Would
2/2 would have been
would a
okay.
2/2 have been really that bad?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think 2/2 would have been acceptable.
Yeah.
And the way she looks with holding that sweet sword,
Yeah.
you think she would have been at least a 2/2.
She's holding a trepanation blade, which is like
I could see 2/1 as well. 2/1 would be acceptable.
2/1 would have totally been acceptable because then first strike creatures
It's
kill
still
it.
relevant, yeah. And actually, it would still die to Ashmouth Hound, which was in Innistrad. Markov Patrician's interesting. Warlock.
I like the art on Markov Patrician.
So maybe you can you can explain what's happening.
She's like dabbing her cheeks or dabbing the corners of her mouth with her handkerchief.
So the pictures of like a girl she's like drinking blood presumably.
Yeah. Well,
in a wine glass.
Vampires of the Markov bloodline pride themselves on their exquisite taste in fashion, art, and wine of the vein.
Wine of the vein. We're guessing that's
what could that be?
So it's like a picture of a vampire woman. She looks a little pudgy too.
Yeah,
in the belly.
She's had a little too much blood today.
Yeah, but
she just sits around drinking blood all day.
She's a 3-mana 3/1 lifelink vamp. It was also in Corset, I think, right? I feel like it was. Maybe not.
But
No?
she would have been good in. No, it was the Exalted 3/1.
Is the one I'm thinking
Servant
of?
of
Oh, no, you're right. Okay, that must be what I'm thinking of. Markov Warlord is like a Glare Wielder, kind of, isn't it?
And much better.
What was Glare Wielder's power toughness?
3/1 haste evoke 2.
Okay.
So the evoke made Glare Wielder a lot probably better than this card, but this card is like really, really strong.
Warlord's a 6-mana 4/4 haste. When it enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures can't block this turn. It's actually a really powerful effect. In limited.
Yeah, that card is amazing in limited. Oftentimes just ends the game, I think.
So we've also got Mirko Vosk now. It's a new vampire who's lends itself a little bit more to the grind strategy or the mill strategy. Nearheat Stalker was actually a really good Dark Ascension vampire in limited. 5-mana 4/1 Undying. Many had traded with a couple things. It felt like it was good value. Necropolis Regents, actually, I forgot this card was in standard right now, and it's actually in Return to Ravnica block, so we have a very, very small chance of seeing it, but because it's mythic.
Yeah.
It's a 6-mana 6/5 flying vampire. The funny thing is, if you do see it in limited, I feel like it's going to be hard to play this card. You know what I mean? Because it's 3 and 3 black, and if you're in Return to Ravnica full block, then you're probably at least, you're for sure at least 2 color.
Yeah.
I can't see really
if you
away
pick
with
up enough
mono-color.
gates and you're black as a base color,
You
it's
can
more
make
possible.
You can make it work. It's a powerful effect.
Yeah.
It's a 6-mana 6/5 flyer, and whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put that many +1/+1 counters on it.
Do you think works best in Dimir, or like because of all the unblockable guys that you could get, Dimir or Rakdos?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. What's cool about this card is it's like a black card that interacts with other spells that reward you for having +1/+1 counters. Like we've talked about, like even though Zamek Guildmage is completely off color with this, it's like you can use those counters. Actually, Kraz de Gorgon, we just talked about it. Now Gorgon becomes like insane.
Yeah, actually, this plus Gorgon is like deal 6 to you, get 6 counters to play with, and
toy
start
around
your
with,
stuff.
make stuff weaker. It's cool. But this was a mythic. I've gotten a chance to play it in Triple Return to Ravnica a little bit, and it's
6/5
okay.
flyer is enough to put a game away.
Yeah, it puts the game away. But it's like I said, even in Triple Return, it wasn't easy to get this card online because it was 3 black mana, and it's a heavily multicolor themed set. All the most powerful cards are in multicolor. I feel totally safe saying that. There are good monocolor creatures, but the most powerful are definitely those multicolor.
They want you to be multicolored.
Yes. Night Revelers was an interesting sideboard card in Triple Innistrad. Sometimes you just had to play it. You didn't have anything else.
I love Night Revelers, and it's like daytime out.
Yeah, that's weird. It's a 5-mana 4/4 red vampire again, and it has haste as long as an opponent controls a human. It's kind of weird. It's just like 2 women and
A man vampire. They don't even look like they're reveling too much.
yeah, they're just
They're
hanging out.
standing in a street.
What's this in the background? This kind of
That looks
peculiar
like-
looking.
Usually, it's humans looking at the vampires in like awe or like fear.
I see. So they know what they are.
Yeah. If you read the flavor text, vampires think of themselves as the indisputable nobility of Innistrad. So
Able to do as they please. There are a few who can prove them wrong.
there are I think 3 vampire, maybe 4 vampire houses on Innistrad. Stromkirk, Volderon. What is the other one?
There's more.
Markov,
Oh yeah,
and then maybe there's not. Maybe it is just
3, but that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are other Voltairan ones besides Olivia?
I'm not sure if they have any that are called out.
Olivia's got a cool picture. Olivia is actually still played and constructed right now, which is interesting. I'm kind of happy that this card ended up being playable. It's a 4-mana 3/3 legendary vamp. It was so good and limited, by the way.
Yeah.
You pay a red and a colorless, and it deals 1 damage to another target creature, and that creature becomes a vampire in addition to its other types, and then you put a +1/+1 counter on Olivia. And then you pay 5 mana, 3 and 2 black, and you gain control of target vampire for as long as you control Olivia. I had actually forgotten about that last part. So if they kill Olivia, they get the...
No.
Oh, no,
no.
They don't get it back. They don't get it back.
No, no, they do. It never stops being a vampire, but you only control the vampire for as long as you control
So if they
her.
answer Olivia, they get their creatures back.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
But she gets bigger.
True. So Dreadbore's the way you can take care of her. Ooh, that's another card that can't kill Blood Baron, by the way.
There's
It's not
so
like-
many that can't.
There really are. Well, because white and black are like the best removal colors.
For spot removal of any permanent, yeah.
Yeah, I guess red,
Well, for
red
creatures
technically is a good removal color too, but
But black and white are the ones that answer without regard to like toughness. a lot of the
yeah,
time.
and 4 toughness is a good number to have on Blood Baron. But Olivia is played in the Jund list still because, like, against my Naya Blitz deck, Olivia is actually really good because Jund runs a lot of removal and cards like Vampire Nighthawk that kind of slow my aggression. So if they can make it to 6 mana, sometimes they can just play Olivia, ping a 1 toughness guy, and then have a 3/3 blocker, and then still like steal a creature the next turn or something. I really like Olivia. I think she's cool. What do you think about this card? Have you played it recently in
I've
Constructed or?
Yeah, I played it in Constructed. I really like her. She's good. She's strong.
Does it feel okay in the control matches or not really?
Against control?
Yeah.
She has to deal her damage to another creature, so you can't just pump her, like, with her on the board alone. So, I don't know. Maybe not.
I see.
Depends on if they're, like, the lingering souls-based control, I guess.
Did you main deck it, or were you sideboarding mostly?
No, I can't remember. I think I main decked it.
I could see
I
that.
had 2 main
Yeah.
deck, I think. Yeah.
But yeah,
It's been a while since I played Jund, but I think I main decked 2.
and it's cool that Jund can do this and into Sire of Insanity now too. So then it's like, I don't know.
Anybody that you have on the board is mine, and you can't do anything about it.
And now you don't have a hand anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that you get that much value on the board. But Olivia, see, they made like too many 4-drop vampires. It's kind of the problem because they have Olivia, they have Aristocrat, which don't play in the same strategy, really. And then they also have Nocturnus.
It's true.
From Corsa that rewards you for, I feel like there's even more than that.
There's like different ways to play the vampire strategy, and they wanted everybody to have
That's
their
true.
own way to do it.
It would have been nice if they had it a little more consolidated. Maybe
Mhm.
vampires would have been a thing. Here's Rakeshare. 3 mana 2/2 vampire. Whenever a vampire control deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Excellent card in limited because it got its own bonus, really. But it also rewarded you for your interlopers, just became really good. The vampire strategy in Triple Innistrad was interesting. It was very difficult to get, I felt like. But because they had the Vampiric Fury
Mhm.
too, which is a 1 mana instant vampire creatures you control get +2/+0 on first strike until end of turn. Is that what it was?
Yes, +2/+0 first strike. Yep.
It's cool. Shadow Alley Denizen is actually a cheap vampire, but just not very good. Not good in limited. I don't think good enough for constructed. Stromkirk Captain is the card we were talking about earlier. It was one of a cycle of lords from Dark Ascension. 3-drop, 2/2 first strike. Other vampire creatures you control get +1/+1 and have first strike. This is totally playable if we're going to make a vampire deck work. We're just talking theoretical. Stromkirk Noble, obviously, you have to play. It's just...
I don't know. It depends.
If you're doing the mid-rangey one, then don't.
No, but if you're doing an
trying
aggro
to
one,
do an aggressive one, yeah.
then he's totally perfect.
See, the problem is actually... Alright, this is the reason you don't play Stromkirk Noble, actually. Because it's red. You can't do it with the Nocturnus strategy.
Right.
So, that's true. Stromkirk Noble,
your
you're
choice.
right.
You're either aggro and you're playing Noble without Nocturnus, or you're mid-range and you're playing no Noble with the Nocturnus.
And the Stromkirk Captain probably still.
Yeah,
Tide
you always
Drinker,
want
Tide Drinker
Captain
still flips
and
it.
Tide Drinker, I think.
Yeah, so I guess the mid-range one is probably the best route to go. Stromkirk Patrol is pretty turdy. Vampire Interloper, you're not going to need it in the mid-rangey one, I don't think. Nighthawk is excellent, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that this card's not seeing a ton of play. It's pretty much just the Jundless in Constructed right now. Nocturnus, definitely it's mid-rangey. That's about it for Vamps. So, what do you think? Overall, good enough? Probably not. I guess
Probably not.
we didn't put Soren on the list there, too. He'd be there.
Yeah. He plays in the mid-range strategy, but that's another 4-drop. So they really did overload the 4-drops.
I guess just not quite enough value to make that deck work.
It's good. A lot of the base pieces are there. It's just that you need to fill some of the holes where there aren't vampires with something else. So you could play it with Burn that hits the face, Brimstone Volley's not bad if you're going for the aggro way with Falcon Wrath Aristocrats. You can guarantee your morbid triggers.
It's cool. I'm not sure it's good enough. Although I'd like it to be, because I really do like Tide Drinker and the idea that it's a
Tide Drinker plus
efficient.
Burn spells.
I feel like it's a lot of abilities wrapped into one. But even with all those abilities, I guess it's just not quite good enough. According to Gabe, our guy from our meta that actually made that vampire deck. Well, now that we've talked about the Vamp list in Standard, which I guess...
A little more lackluster than we were hoping.
Yeah, unfortunately not quite good enough, even with access to enough 2-drop ones. Blood Artist was always a good Supreme Verdict, sort of, not out, but punish them for their Supreme Verdict. But, I don't know. Not quite good enough.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's take this time to crack some boosters. So, these are my prize winnings from the week. I've saved them so we can do them on the podcast, jam them open here. So the plan is we're just going to open them one at a time here, and last time around, for some reason, we didn't say how we'd pick them in a draft, but this time around, I'm going to tell you the notable picks and what I would pick as a first pick in a draft. And we're going to play it like we're doing a Pro Tour draft. So if we open a high value card, it's kind of cool. We get to say, I'd pass it. Because if you're on the Pro Tour drafts, you really just want to pick the best card. You need to win. The whole point is you have to win. Like in draft, you're like your local drafts, you open like a $10 card. You want to be like, well, that pays for quite a bit of this draft. I think I won it. Like I got a foil Boros Charm first pick during that full block draft we did, and I didn't even play it. But that card is worth like $7 or $8, so that was cool. Anyway, pack 1. We got a Selesnya Guildgate. Render Silent is the rare. If you don't know this, it's a 3-mana counter target spell and silence. Jake, you've tried this I saw you try this a little bit in Constructed Control. What did you think? Did it do anything?
It works okay. I mean, the best play I had with it probably was somebody playing Burning Tree Emissary uncounterable with a Cavern, which sucks, but whatever. And I rendered Silent on it just so that he couldn't follow it up with more Burning Trees or more guys,
That's actually really interesting, and I like that because it actually was decent in that situation. It was like kind of a semi-punish them even with their cavern.
Yeah.
Where they punish them with a counterspell even with their cavern.
Right. So it is nice in that way. I wish this card was just a straight up Orum's Chant plus a counterspell, because then it would have been really good against aggro, but silence is fine.
Wait, what's Orum's Chant again? I'm sorry. Can't attack?
Yeah, well, it's a kicked Orum's Chant is what I really want,
Oh.
but...
Yeah, that's true. Maybe they didn't want to push it too much. But...
Yeah, I think it is pushing it a little too far. They could have made it 4 mana, but I think at that point, then it's unplayable.
See, the funny thing is, Render Silent doesn't stop Storm, because they've already cast all of them anyway.
It stops the one that you need it to stop, potentially. Like, it stops that last, like, Seething Song. But Storm is out of Modern anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. It doesn't matter.
Our Legacy card playable, and you still would just play Force of Will against them anyway, and force out their Seething Song.
So let me look through this pack. It looks like we also have Blaze Commando. I'm going to pull out all the notable cards. Sunspire Gatekeeper, Runner's Bane, Vyashno First Blade. The most notable cards, Deputy of Acquittals is in here. That's pretty substantial. Windrake is interesting. Toil and Trouble is a cool card. Sin Collector is good. And a Selesnya. Okay, so first pick. This is actually a very good one because you have quite a bit of options. There are a couple good Boros cards in Blaze Commando and Vyashno First Blade. Blaze Commando is a 5-drop, 5/3. I can probably just type it in here real quick. I might have just types up though because of vamps. But anyway, Blaze Commando, 5 mana, 5/3. Whenever an instant or sorcery spell you control deals damage, put 2/1/1 red and white soldier creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. So pretty cool with a card in the same set, punish the enemy, because if you kill a creature, deal damage to them, get 2/1/1. It's cool. So Blaze Commando is actually a fairly strong card alongside some good removal. Sin Collector, potential 2-for-1. I like that quite a bit. What would I first pick? This is actually an interesting question. I think because I'm not passing much of a Orzhov signal at all with this pack, I think I might first pick the Sin Collector, because I feel like this card is actually in Limited still very powerful. So that would be mine. Jake, do you want to take a look and see what you'd probably first pick? I think my first pick would probably be the Sin Collector, because I'm not passing an Orzhov signal, so I'd kind of like to stay open in that. And I feel like the potential strength of Sin Collector is very good in Limited. You get to rob them of a removal, or at least look at what you have to deal with.
I like that, I guess. For me, Vyashno First Blade is really good. The attacks for 4/4 the first turn it comes out, and then is a 2/2.
It's kind of funny because this sounds like opposite of both of us.
Yeah, it does.
Really, because I usually play the more aggressive.
I think Sin Collector is very good, and I might pick it up 3rd or 4th pick, but it's a 2/1 for 3.
Seem to be lagging a little bit. Interesting.
Oh, strange.
But yeah.
It's a 2/1 for 3, and last night I had it played against me in Standard Constructed, so this might not carry over to Limited as much, but it got like a card I didn't care about the first time, and then the second time it didn't do anything that he casted against me.
Yeah, definitely cool in multiples. I think you and I had said we guessed they originally designed this card with Battalion and Haste, and they were like, wait, that's way too good.
Yeah.
Maybe they originally added uncommon or rare or some, probably uncommon, and then they were like, it still played too well.
Yeah, this guy's really good though.
He's cool.
Even attacking as a 4/4 just once and then hanging back as a chumper, that's fine.
So I'd probably first pick a Sin Collector, and Jake would probably first pick a Vyashno First Blade.
Mostly because the Blaze Commando doesn't really send a Boros signal.
All right, Jake, you can have the honor of doing the second one, and you will decide on your first pick first, and I will say if I agree or disagree.
I blur. Okay, there's a Mirko Vosk, Rot Farm Skeleton, Ascended Law Mage.
Let me hold this up real quick here. Mirko Vosk is a 5 mana 2/4 vamp. We can probably just look him up on the comp here. Mirko Vosk. It's cool. He has like a Russian name too.
Yeah.
Or like a Croatian name actually.
It's
Mirko.
really funny
Yeah.
that they give the vampires all these like Slavic, or is it Slavic? Not Slavic.
Well, no, it makes sense because the vampires that we know,
Transylvania, yeah.
are sort of that Eastern European.
Yeah, Eastern European names and stuff.
That's cool.
Because
So they've tied it to like the Earth vampires.
Yeah, I do think Soren is a real name too for that area.
Yeah, I bet it is.
I think I've actually shipped cards to somebody named Soren in like that area.
Did you ship a Soren to Soren?
No, not like that.
No, you're right. I feel like I've shipped to a Soren as well. That's funny.
And
I've definitely sent cards to Jace's before.
I've sent to
so there are
Jace's
people
before,
named Jace.
So they use real world names totally. They're just like less common real world.
And
names,
now with all the Magic players, you're seeing like Magic names named on people. Have you ever seen? I've known girls named Chandra now, and it really like
that's cool.
It freaks me out. It's like, whoa, Chandra.
I think like Liliana is not.
I haven't heard that one.
That's not like a great name for a girl, but Chandra is a really sweet name for a girl. Like.
Sounds a little slutty.
It does, but I still like it. I don't care.
I don't know why it sounds slutty, but it does.
Because she's hot. She's a fire maid.
Chandra.
I'm Chandra. What's your name? There's a Tithe Drinker, Steeple Rock, Windrake, Punish the Enemy, Ascended Law Mage, and Rot Farm Skeleton out of this pack.
Good choices.
That I would say would be first pick.
Good choices. Now, what would you first pick?
I guess
That's the question.
There's Rakdos Drake, but I don't think that's
pack one, pick one.
Out of this, for what I'm sending, it looks like there's a lot of Azorius cards in here. I would actually probably just slam the Mirko Vosk because he's such a strong card. You know, like he comes out, you can't really answer him with a lot of removal, and he just ends games really quickly. He's generally a 2 to 3 turn clock. Okay,
so I think I'd have to agree with you there. Mirko Vosk is worth first picking. So let's say Mirko Vosk isn't in the pack. Now let's talk about your second pick.
I like Ascended Law Mage, but I think Punish the Enemy is my pick here. And honestly, I played with Rot Farm Skeleton. I had 2 in the draft this week. And
let's look. Yeah, let's show him.
This card's actually very strong if you are aggressive enough. So in the Jund, like full block deck where you have a lot of Blood Rush, this guy's good, especially if you get Scab-Clan Rampagers or anything that lets him trample. So really good with Scarred Guild Mage. But actually doing his return him to the battlefield effect is really strong too. Yeah. And I used it a few times.
Keeps coming back, and he feeds your scavenge. It's cool.
Yep. So he's cool. I might second pick him because there wasn't a lot of other green in this pack. There's one Thrashing Moss Dog.
So you might value him more than like. Let's mention.
I like Tithe Drake.
Let's mention the Ascended Law Mage because I haven't gotten a chance to play this, and I really do want to. And I'm not sure I know how powerful it is yet. I feel like it's very good. I think when I do a search it's weird.
That is weird.
It's like when I do a search from a card, when I've already searched for a card, then it like slows me up here. Alright, Ascended Law Mage is a 4-mana 3/2 flying hexproof Vidalcan Wizard. It's cool to see Vidalcans again. I feel like it's been a little while.
Mirrodin. 2 blocks ago.
Is that, I don't know. Is that the last time? Okay. Ascended Law Mage though, cool card. Hexproof with evasion, obviously good. Do we like it more than Tithe Drinker? I don't know. I like Tithe Drinker quite a bit.
The only reason I wasn't saying Ascended Law Mage was because there was a Steeple Rock and a Windrake, 2 cards that already kill it in the same pack.
It's kind of funny.
I'm passing that. You know?
I like your idea of the Punish because it's monocolor. I feel like I would actually take the Tithe Drinker just because if I can play it, I'm so happy because it's like a 2-drop. If just so many abilities really wrapped into it. It is multicolor.
If you stay completely Ortsov, it's very good.
I think it's just because my favorite mechanic is Extort, even from both sets, from all the guilds.
Yeah,
I think
it is a really strong effect.
Extort. I just really think is powerful and limited. It's funny because it hasn't had much, if any, impact in Standard actually. Blind Obedience was played for like a second, and now no one cares about it. You know, I'm sure that card's tanked in value. I haven't looked, but I assume it has.
Blind Obedience is only good against people who have a ton of haste, really.
Yeah, the first ability is not quite relevant enough. The semi-kismet for creatures or whatever.
You basically have to be playing somebody who is only playing haste creatures. Yeah. And seriously,
good against Thundermaw. Good against
tapping
good
artifacts
against
isn't good. if it tap lands, it'd be amazing.
Good against Hellrider, but not
Yeah.
even that great against Hellrider because they still punish you with the other creatures they have. You know.
So it's good against red deck wins if they're exclusively haste, and if you have all the mass removal for them, and spot removal. You want to play Azorius Charm so you can extort off of it too. So actually, it is good against red deck wins if you can extort off all of your like think about extorting off a Dramatic Rescue in a Blind Obedience deck.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, because you gain that 3 life total if you extorted, and they are getting a creature that they can't even use again until their next turn.
And even Azorius Charm against like a haste creature, they're like, oh, I have to wait an extra turn. And then they attack and you're like, Azorius Charm, extort.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. So that actually slows down the deck
It really
quite a
does.
bit. So
Okay.
there's only one deck though that it's really strong against.
All right. Next pack is open. We have a Dimir Guildgate. We have a foil Hidden Strings, and we get the mythic Deadbridge Chant. And we'll talk. Let me talk about Deadbridge Chant because I'm actually very much interested in the applications of this card in Constructed. Actually, Limited, I'm curious about as well. But it's a 6-mana mythic enchantment. It's in Golgari. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 10 cards of your library into your graveyard. Makes it a little more dangerous to play in Limited. But the other ability is very powerful. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature card, put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand. Just a really cool ability. Because, I mean, it can just put creatures out from your graveyard into play. I have to think about whether I'd first pick it. I'm not sure that I would. I think it's a little bit... Let's talk about the other cards in this pack that are notable. Another Blaze Commando's in here. Down and Dirty's in here. I'm not sure I value that card super high. Another Vyashna First Blade. Rakdos Drake. Battering Krasis, and a Spike Jester. What would I first pick? I think I'd probably be willing to first pick the Rakdos Drake because it's monocolor, it's a flyer, and it's a 2/3 attacker. It's not the most amazing first pick. There's also Vyashna First Blade. In this case, I might pick it, even though it's multicolor, over the Rakdos Drake. I'm not quite sure, though. Battering Krasis is also monocolor and fairly good, not amazing. So I think of all the picks, I'd probably first pick the... I don't know. I was thinking, I was questioning whether Deadbridge Chant is playable in Limited. I think it is. It's just a little more dangerous. It's a little expensive. It is cool. It's cool that it generates multiple things for you. It is value. It's a little bit slow. I'm not sure if I'd first pick it in a Pro Tour. I'd probably first pick to stay the most open, past the least signal. I think I would take the Battering Krasis. I believe I would take the Battering Krasis. Reason being, it's kind of funny that this is a double Hidden Strings pack too, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
But I'd probably first pick the Battering Krasis because we're not passing much of a Simic signal. It keeps me open to Selesnya still as well. It's monocolor. Rakdos Drake would be very good, but there's also a Spike Jester in this pack, which is going to motivate people to go sort of the Rakdos route. The Vyashna First Blade is very good. I guess we're not passing much of a Boros signal. But there is a Blaze Commando, which is also worth it, I think. I'd probably first pick the Battering Krasis. Jake would... And remember, Deadbridge Chant is in this pack, too.
Yeah, I don't think I'd pick that. It's too much of a
liability
and Limited.
I think so. I might be proven wrong about this, because Deadbridge Chant could be worth it in Limited, and we just don't realize it yet. You know?
I feel like it's only good when you're positive that your opponent isn't playing...
any sort of mill effect?
Any mill. Like, one Balustrade Spy could ruin your day.
Yeah, that's true.
I would like to note on Down and Dirty how I really don't understand why they think that Down needed to cost that much.
Yeah, especially since the abilities don't interact that well together.
Yeah.
Down and Dirty.
They actually don't interact at all.
Maybe you want to read it.
Down is a 4-mana sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards. Dirty is a 3-mana sorcery. Return target creature or target card from your graveyard to your hand.
Too many cards. Oh, there it is. Yeah. So, don't really like that card. Doesn't even feel really uncommon, in my opinion. Feels like it could have been common. Both those effects are common.
No, dirty isn't. Dirty is
It's
right.
not?
At
It's
uncommon.
always uncommon?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
For
Wildwood-
return target card?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Down, though, as an uncommon...
It's a more expensive Mind Rot. Well,
Why?
really, it's a more expensive on both sides. It's a combination of regrowth
Well,
and
dirty
down
is actually
and Mind Rot.
exactly recollect or recollect.
That's true.
It is exactly recollect. So down
Should
should
have
have
been
just been Mind Rot
I see.
at uncommon.
No, but then maybe they were like, but then Mind Rot's like the most worthless spell ever because it is in Return to Ravnica, right?
Mind Rot? No.
Is it in?
It's in Corset.
Oh, okay.
But Mind Rot is already one of the most worthless spells ever.
It was a sideboardable card in M13 if they were playing a deck with a lot of fat in it.
Yeah, but like, why not give people a card that gives them the option? I
And
guess
it was
down
good
and
in sealed.
dirty.
And remember, that effect is actually really powerful
Yeah.
in sealed. This
And-
card may not be good in draft, but it is very good in sealed.
Down and dirty is actually, it might even be a card that you could sideboard into your constructed deck just for the dirty part most of the time, but
Mhm.
like against the right deck, being able to do them both
Maybe.
potentially. I don't see it as like, oh, you have to do them, but
Yeah.
it could be something.
What would you? So what would you first pick?
My first pick, I don't know. I think I'd take a Maze Behemoth.
You'd like
Out
the
of this
6-drop over the?
Yes,
Okay.
over any of the cheaper ones.
You're not impressed with the
I'm
Maze Behemoth is the green Behemoth.
This pack doesn't have much for anybody in it. I think that's why.
It's a 6-drop 5/4 trample. Multicolored creatures you control have trample.
I think that's why I would pick it.
Okay.
When you look at how many colorless cards are in this
Yeah,
pack,
you're right. There's. It should be noted. There's 3 clue stones
Yeah.
and a gate in that pack. A guild gate.
well, clearly the guild gate's there, I suppose, but then double hidden strings.
Yeah, it's kind of cool
I don't know.
that
I
there's.
think
It's
Maze Behemoth was,
it's funny that there's 2
yeah.
hidden strings in that pack. It's always interesting when you get to foil something.
With the
Regular,
regular one in
yeah.
there,
You clearly take the foil one if you're gonna take one of them. All right, next pack. Wait, did I open
That's
that?
fine. Just
No,
open
no,
it.
no. You can do this one.
You already broke the package.
Oh, sorry. Now it doesn't feel the same, does it?
Reap Intellect is my mythic.
Okay, we're not gonna be first picking that. The sad thing is, it's like just a horrible mythic in general. It's not even like playable, really. It'd be a good, it would be a good crap draft mythic actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's so.
Still not even.
It's not even good.
It's terrible in that even.
It's like too expensive. It's really funny.
All right.
Sadly, it's just a turd card. It's a Dimir card, 4 mana and X. Target opponent reveals his or her hand. You choose up to X non-land cards from it and exile them. For each card exiled this way, search that player's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as that card and exile them. It's cool what it's trying to do, but
It costs so much.
it's just too
I
expensive.
think that they could have
Not
made
good
this
enough.
at 3x. You know.
I could see that. So how
Okay,
What's
so
first
there
pickable
was
from here?
Unflinching Courage.
oh shit, that card's so sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, Unflinching Courage is pretty much the new Armadillo Cloak. They had to update the.
They gave
Wait.
it lifelink.
They had to update what Armadillo Cloak did because that was pre the Evergreen ability Lifelink. So it used to be cards like Spirit Link and cards like that or whatever. They were just
They would
slow here
stack.
too. I don't know why this is going so slow. Strange.
Strange. You're searching type still.
I see. I went back too far. All right, so Unflinching Courage is. Ugh. No, it's just going really slow for
Okay.
some reason.
Well,
right, it's a-
Unflinching Courage
yeah.
is an enchantment for 3. 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. It's an aura. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has trample and lifelink. So it's the updated version of Armadillo Cloak, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of whenever enchanted creature deals damage, you gain that much life, it has lifelink now.
Okay.
So if you enchant your opponent's creature, you won't be preventing the damage to yourself or whatever.
And we already talked about what a shite picture it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
It's like
think we need
it's
to-
like a dinosaur kind of.
It doesn't make sense!
It's like a Stegosaurus looking thing chasing.
It's not a Stegosaurus. It's like kind of a Stegosaurus. It's like a hybrid
Triceratops,
Stegosaurus.
Triceratops.
Yeah, Stegosauratops.
Yeah, it is, and it's like chasing a couple different
2 pans
forest creatures, a satyr looking thing,
and
and
a goat, a satyr,
A
but the
little-
opposite way. So it's got a goat head with a man body. All right, so I would first pick this,
Yeah.
and then I would alter the art immediately. But there is also Profit Loss, which is cool. It's the 5 mana Zealous Persecution. There's Feral Animist. Punish the Enemy. Deputy of Acquittals. Tide Drinker.
Wow.
Beetleform Mage. This was
Wow.
like a pretty stacked pack as
I'd
far as
say.
creatures go.
Yeah, as far as good, cheap creatures.
Yeah, and even Sunspire Gatekeepers is probably my favorite Gatekeeper. Yeah, I would say so, because it gives you 2 guys and puts 4 power out, 6 toughness. Everything else is unnotable. But, yeah, I would still pick the Unflinching Courage just because...
I agree. I would do that same thing. Unflinching Courage is just so remarkably strong.
Yeah, even if I didn't end up playing it, I would at least be glad that I got rid of it for somebody else.
Jake and I have discussed, contrasted and compared Gift of Orzhova versus Unflinching Courage. I'm still currently undecided on which one I like more.
I think I like Gift more.
Gift gives you the evasion, and we have had a time where Gift was actually what we needed to kill them, and Unflinching Courage would not have killed them. So for that reason, I have to agree with you. I think because it's monocolor capabilities too.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest sell point for me, is like you can put it into either, well, any of those guilds. So there's not a lot of colors that guilds that Gift actually doesn't go into. Gruul, Simic, and what else? There's got to be at least one more. Golgari, Rakdos. Oh no, you can do it in both those.
It's arguable any way you look at it. But I've heard the opposite side of the argument too, because sometimes you want that extra power toughness instead.
I think it's I still do. I'm gonna just stick by Gift being.
I think I have to agree. Yeah, I'd do Gift of Orzhova as well. But still, that's cool. Unflinching Courage, I still agree with you. Would slam first pick it. It's a very powerful effect out of that pack, which is saying a lot because there are a lot of good creatures in that pack.
There were a ton of good creatures.
Tide Drinker. But I just feel like Unflinching Courage is such a board flipper. I guess you gain more life from Unflinching Courage too. That's like another reason why it might be considered better.
The thing is, you'll never have to make the choice over the 2 in the same pack, so it's like dumb to like discuss it.
And they're playable in the same deck.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. Okay. So
because you could just play them both if you had them both. So.
Yeah, and you'd probably be pretty happy with that deck too. All right. Selesnya Guildgate, Melik, is it Paragon? Unfortunately, Melik,
not good.
Not that good, but interesting card. It'd be cool in the right deck, but see, the problem is, well, I guess the cool part is if you're already devoted Izzet after a few picks and you see Melik, you could be like, all right, I'll go for this strategy. Because he works alongside the Gutter Snipe deck, and he works in the...
And I do think that you can overload off the top of your library.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cool.
Because you can cast the top card of your library, and it doesn't say, like, for its mana cost or whatever.
Okay, so first pick, we have a Hazda Snare Squad, who's a 3-mana 1/4. When he attacks, you can pay a 1 white, and if you do, tap target creature and opponent controls. I actually like him quite a bit. It's also Thrashing Moss Dog, Weapon Surge, Warped Physique, and Flux Charger. Those would be my initial gut feeling picks. What would I first pick, though? I'd probably want to stay monocolor, and I think both Thrashing Moss Dog and Hazda Snare Squad are worthy first picks. To stay on color, there's nothing remarkably strong out of this. I'd probably take the Thrashing Moss Dog because I like the reach. I like that it scavenges. I'd like to be in. I like green quite a bit. Hazda Snare Squad is very good alongside the Battalion strategy. Not so good in the Orzhov strategy. Whereas Thrashing Moss Dog is good in Simic, it's good in Selesnya, it's good in Golgari. So I think I'd go Thrashing Moss Dog. There's also Flux Charger, which is really strong, but it's 2 colors right away. Maybe take the Flux Charger, but I think I'd probably just Pro Tour. I'd stay safe and do the Thrashing Moss Dog.
And, I mean, Thrashing Moss Dog does block and kill Flux Charger after it's change power toughness or whatever.
And then has more value on top of that later.
So I think you're right, probably. Hazda Snare Squad's cool, but it forces you to be attacking in and keep your mana used for that.
And not necessarily forces you, but it definitely is like, that's where the true value of the...
Yeah, I guess what I mean to say is you cannot play Hazda Snare Squad as a defensive card for its tap ability. you're
Yeah.
only going to be able to block with it defensively,
So
which
to
is
re-
fine.
so-
It's a 1/4.
Yeah, so to really get full value out of it. And the reason I like the card is, even though it's only a 1/4, it still attacks well, because it's difficult to kill it.
Yeah.
So it's like tapping, it usually just taps stuff down, which makes it a cool attacker.
I do think Armored Wolf Rider is really
Yeah.
good, actually, out of this pack, too.
Armored Wolf Rider is just a 5 mana 4/6
Vanilla.
Elf Knight. Yeah.
And it's
In
very
Sludge
strong. It's hard to kill this card, and that's why it's strong. But is it a first pick? Probably not. You'd want something with an ability. So I don't like Warped Physique as much. I had it played against me on draft this week, and it couldn't even kill the creature that they needed to kill with it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's only really good in the early stages of the game.
It's
but
it's a 2 mana instant. Target creature gets +X/-X until in turn where X is the number of cards in your hand.
Yeah.
So good early.
It's a good removal spell. I do like it. I just don't know that I would pick it up unless it was like 3rd or 4th pick, because...
And maybe if you have a lot of draw card effects in your
Yeah.
deck, like you have Thought Flares maybe, and you're playing that
you
card.
need to be drawing multiple cards per one card, and...
Divination, is
like-
that in this? That's in this.
No, Inspiration is, though.
Okay.
And even Toil Trouble is in this, so you can do Toil.
Inspiration is that right?
Inspiration is in Return to Ravnica.
I'd forgotten that. That's right.
Yeah, uses it.
But
But I would do Inspiration, and, I mean, Thought Flare is okay, but it actually only gets you the same amount of cards as Inspiration does. So, you know, maybe you'd play Inspirations more than that. And Inspiration's not even that good, because you're only giving yourself one more card. I don't know. I have to agree. Thrashing Moss Dog is probably the pick I would go with first.
Pro Tour only. Yeah, online, if I wanted to do something cool, I might first pick the Flux Charger, because it's a cool strategy to go into.
I really, really like Flux Charger.
But Moss Dog, I think, is just
Yeah.
like the safest way in a Pro Tour to make sure that you're staying as open as possible. You get a good card.
And the Scavenge is relevant.
Mm-hmm.
So, woo!
Jake's having a heyday open this pack.
I'm so quick at pack opening.
You are. Does it for
Tagic. Woo!
Cool.
I think Tagic is just pretty much a first pick.
Yeah, he's worth it. One of the few indestructible creatures in the entire block that I can think of. What's another one?
I can't actually really think of one off the top of my head.
Mr. Tagic the Blathering.
Blah, 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 blah.
I thought it was Tagic, but it doesn't really matter. We don't really know.
Yeah,
Just
I guess
a
it
thing.
could be Tagic. It's always hard when they don't, like, put the pronunciation key on it.
Tagic, I guess, makes phonetically more sense, so I can see that.
Okay, there was...
Tagic, alright, so I think I have to agree with you. I'd first pick Tagic. He's powerful enough. He's
the
cool.
thing I didn't know about Tagic is that he was a 4-drop. I thought he was a 5-drop, so he's, like, way better than I initially even thought, too.
So I'd first pick Tagic. Now let's say second pick.
Okay.
Or Tagic's not in this pack.
Right. There's Battering Krasis. We'll just always say that the rare is Trait Doctrine, so that we know we won't pick it. Battering Krasis.
We've gotten some bad mythic
Yeah.
rares, or potential questionable ones like the Deadbridge War
Deadbridge
Chant.
Chant is not necessarily terrible, but Reap Intellect is. Battering Krasis, Gruul War Chant, Flux Charger, Rubble Belt Maka, and Sunspire Gatekeepers are all first pickable cards.
Could agree with that.
There's also a Maw of the Obsidian. I'm not a huge fan of this card, but it's in here. And then for removal, there was a Drown in Filth, and I'm not a huge fan of that card.
And Pilfered Plans. Pilfered Plans is actually one of those
Yeah.
cards that works well with Warp Physique.
Yeah, it does. But, you know.
No, you're right.
Like,
it's pretty much just a divination, mostly. Glorified one.
Yeah. Okay, so out of these, though, I would probably... I think I like Rubble Belt Maka because it's just a really strong effect both ways. The Blood Rush and it's a Hill Giant. Battering Krasis is good, and I could definitely see the reason for that. But Rubble Belt plays into Rakdos, and it plays into Gruul, and it plays into Boros really well. Does not play into Izzet as well, unless you get enough flyers. And the other problem with Izzet is that a lot of their cards are defenders, or, like, built to defend. Other than that, I'd say, I think it is Rubble Belt Maka, but Gruul War Chant's very strong if you want to push yourself into Gruul early.
Yeah. I think I would probably pick the Gruul War Chant, but Jake's pick is definitely safer because, unfortunately, passing both the Battering Crisis and Rubble Belt Mach is a little bit of a Gruul signal, both of which you need for the Gruul War Chant. But I do think that the Gruul War Chant is... I really want it to see constructed play. I'm just not sure if it will, amongst the pros at least. It will in people's metas, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the strict upgrade to Orchestra Flame. It's a 4-mana enchantment. Each attacking creature you control gets +1/+0 and can't be blocked. So I'd probably first pick the Gruul War Chant. If it didn't pan out, whatever. But if you can make it pan out, I really do think that's a very powerful effect. Rubble Belt Mach is also a very strong Blood Rush creature. It's a hill giant plus a giant growth wrapped into one card. Very versatile. Good card. I might agree with that pick. I think I'd probably go with the Gruul War Chant. But it's close with the Rubble Belt Maka. I would say that's
I think the Maka, the only reason I go with Maka in that is because of Boros, Rakdos, you know, like those
leaves you more
are
open.
just as good as Gruul.
And both of those guilds, just you get rewarded for playing Maka very much so. So I see the logic there. Works. How does Hellhole Flailor would work real well?
Yes, very well.
At 5
mana. Yeah. You get a 7/6.
Yeah.
Attacked in.
And then so it's like 14 damage.
Yeah.
Pretty insane. Okay, we got another. We've gotten a lot of these Selesnya Guildgates. Strangely enough, Skylasher is the rare. These cards sell pretty well.
The thing about Skylasher that's interesting is that he's an insect and not a spider.
So Skylasher is a 2-mana, 2/2 flash, can't be countered, reach protection from blue. We talked about how it's like kind of pushing abilities in terms of on a 2-drop 2/2. It's like probably the most abilities on a bear I've ever seen. Maybe. But is he first pickable? Possibly. Let me look what else is in here. We have a Runner's Bane, we have a Beetleform Mage, both of which I like. We have a Feral Animist. We have a Debt to the Deathless. I think I'd first pick the Skylasher. If the Skylasher wasn't in here, my first pick would probably be the Beetleform Mage. I like that card enough where I would first pick it over a Runner's Bane, even though Runner's Bane is good. And I would first pick it over the Feral Animist, even though Animist is good.
Beetleform Mage is one of those cards that also breaks out of Runner's Bane. So to see them in the same pack is like, you kind of do want the Beetleform Mage anyway.
It's a 3-mana in Simic, 2/2, and then you pay a green and a blue, and it gets +2/+2 and gains flying until end of turn. Activated only once a turn. I very much like Beetleform Mage. It's an excellent win con. Excellent strategy for those decks to go. So that'd be the picks, I think. Ooh. Next pack.
Okay. Ooh. The rare was Legion's Initiative.
Legion's Initiative. Cool card.
And I do like that card. I'm not necessarily sure that it's a first pick card in a Pro Tour draft.
I'd agree.
But it's a cool card, and it works really well. Even to just blink out your guys.
It's a cool mythic. It's a Boros card, 2 mana, enchantment. Red creatures you control get +1/+0. White creatures you control get +0/+1. And then you pay red and white and exile it. Exile all creatures you control at the beginning of the next combat. Return those cards to the battlefield under their owner's control, and those creatures gain haste until end turn. Very cool. It dodges Supreme Verdicts. It dodges Terminus. It really dodges like all removal in general. It even dodges spot removal. So very cool card. I agree. It's not really a first pickable, just not quite applicable enough in draft consistently to be a good first pick. I mean, if you're already heavily into Boros cards and you happen to have a lot of red and white creatures, certainly. But
so this pack also had Runner's Bane, Ascended Law Mage, Maw of the Obsidat, Sunspire Gatekeepers, and a Beetleform Mage. And I think that I would just take the Beetleform Mage out of this pack if I think it would be my first pick, even with the Legion's Initiative. Mostly because the rest of this pack sends a pretty good Esper or Ortov and Azorius signal. So if I was trying to make something work for myself, it'd be the Simic out of this.
I can see that. I really want to play with Ascended Law Mage. I want to know how good this card is. I have a feeling it's very, very good.
Yeah, but your Beetleform Mage beats it up and lives to talk about it.
True. I think the reason I like Ascended Law Mage is because we've seen a good amount of auras in this block. And this one is just like a Madcap on this, or a
Ethereal Armor
on
in particular
this. Yeah.
is really strong.
So I think I might take the Law Mage if it's as good as I think it might be. But you're right, Beetleform Mage would be a close second. Beetleform Mage is also very excellent. And Sunspire Gatekeepers, I think we said, is one of our favorite Gatekeepers,
It's
right
just-
alongside...
the thing about this pack was that there was so much other white in it.
That's true. I
Even
can see
beyond the cards that I had mentioned, there's also a Maze Sentinel, and I mean, Debt to the Deathless, and
not
the
really,
Legion's,
not really a high pick.
Yeah, but even the Legion's Initiative would still be in that pack if I, was going to make a pick out of it. So, truly, there was.
I'd probably say Ascended. He'd say Beetleform Mage. My close second would be Beetleform Mage. But he might be right about signaling. It might signal a little bit awkwardly taking the Ascended Law Mage. I'm just not quite sure how powerful that card is in Limited. If it's as good as I think it might be, then...
It is a very good card. Hexproof has always proven itself to be strong and annoying.
Rakdos Guildgate. This is actually my favorite new Guildgate art.
Full art.
Yeah, it's just a close-up of the last one. Okay, the rare is Breaking and Entering. This was the promo card for the release. Yeah. And Breaking and Entering is 2 mana. You mill them of 8 cards, and then how much is it? 6 mana, and you put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. So at least it interacts well when it's fused. Mill them, take a creature. Probably really cool in EDH.
Yeah, I would think it would be very good in EDH.
In the Thraxamundar deck or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what... Actually, in a Cedrus the Traitor King deck, where you can cast Breaking on yourself to get more creatures into your graveyard to unearth.
Yeah.
And then enter another creature from somebody else's graveyard.
So I don't think I would first pick Breaking and Entering in the Pro Tour Limited, just because Mill is more of like a novelty sort of draft strategy.
There's enough. The most powerful Mill is Breaking in the format.
You're right. There's enough support to do it. If you wanted to go for that right away, you could plan on it with your Breaking.
But you need Balustrade Spies and Paranoid Delusions out of the
You get one pack to really clean up on all the grind. You need those Grizzly Spectacles. You need those Balustrade Spies.
Yeah.
You really, so you're banking a little bit, I think.
If I already had the Miracle Vosk, it'd be a no-brainer. Then I would do it.
Oh, okay, so this pack also, as more of the first pick, it's got Thrashing Moss Dog, Zertot Druid. Alive and Well, I think, is actually pretty good. Weapon Surge, Smeltwort Gatekeeper, Steeple Rock. I would first pick the Zertot Druid. It does devote you to 2 colors early on, and there is a fairly substantial amount of green and red in here. But Zertot Druid has just really quickly proven itself to be a wonderful limited card. So it's a 2-mana 1/1, add a green to your mana pool. Tap, add a green to your mana pool, and then when you tap it, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So, Jake, I would first pick the Zertot Druid, even though it's 2 color. How about you?
It is a really strong card.
Lets you really, kind of focus on more of expensive spells, too. Just ramp in general. Ramp in limited, cheap ramp is very good. Especially ramp creatures, because they're more versatile.
It plays well with Gatekeepers. It plays well with every 4-drop, really. But, it also just pings your opponent to death. If they're at a certain point, it's just all over at that point.
I agree. The reason that it's cool in Gruul is you're blood rushing already, so maybe you overextend your blood rush 1 turn just to make sure that you get enough damage in, and then you can just clean them up with Zertot Druid.
Yeah, so in multiples, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else that you could do. Him wearing unflinching courage is really good, because then he blocks as 3/3 and can still ping to lifelink. I think Zertot Druid is really good. I would first pick it probably too.
Cool. Alright. Next pack. Oh, it's Jake's turn.
Yoink.
Another Selesnya Guildgate.
Foil is it Guildgate?
And a foil is it Guildgate.
Looks
cool.
Sweet. Pyrewild Shaman. That's a great rare. Uh-oh, this one's going to be tough.
Pyrewild Shaman is a 3-mana 3/1 Goblin Shaman with Blood Rush, 1 and a red, and whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, if he's in your graveyard, you can pay 3 and return him to your hand.
He's great. He's great if you have first strike and non-first strike creatures attacking in at the same time, and a ton of mana. The other cards, if that card wasn't in there, I would first pick that.
I agree. So if it's monocolor, it's powerful effect.
Yeah.
It gives you everything about this card is excellent for limited.
Yeah.
Just getting the additional value later. The fact that it's combat trick plus a good beater.
Yeah.
Plus you get it back.
Next to Splatter Thug and like other cards that have first strike, I'm trying to think of.
Excellent. Just an excellent card. So much value.
Fencing Ace would be really good with this guy too. Wow, actually, Fencing Ace in particular would be really good.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Because you could Blood Rush it if it's getting through for 4 damage first strike, then bring it back and Blood Rush it again and do 7 damage on. So 11 total off of Fencing Ace in this guy if you have the 7 mana for it. Anyway, there was Khorazda Gorgon, Haunter of Nightvale, Spike Jester, Deputy of Acquittals, Punish the Enemy, and Ubulsar Gatekeepers. I think this Gatekeepers is one of the first pickable ones too. So
Ubulsar is the black one. That's 4 mana, and it gives -2/-2.
And yeah, so the black one and the white one are the two that I think are in the first pickable section. But I do like Khorazda Gorgon a lot because it has Death Touch, so its ability is just relevant right out the gate. Haunter of Nightvale is really good. As a 3/4, does not fly, but depicted as flying creature that gives your opponent's creatures -1/-0. Out of this pack, let's see, it looks like there's already a lot of Rakdos cards.
So if Pyrowild wasn't in the pack, which one would you pick?
I think I'd take the Haunter.
I think I agree with that. It's a pretty good call. I've gotten a chance to play the Haunter of Nightvale a little bit. It's a 5 mana 3/4. Should have flying, like you said. But it doesn't. It's a spirit. Creatures your opponents control get -1/-0. So it's actually, what's that card from Shards? Not Mindstone. Cumberstone.
Yeah. It is Cumberstone on creature.
It's a Cumberstone plus a 3/4 creature.
Yeah.
Really, really good and limited. So I'd probably agree with that. It's worth taking the multicolor spell. Yeah. Punish the Enemy. Even in Pro Tour, I think this card's worth taking. It's a very, very powerful effect.
So for 1 black, you get a 3/4 creature plus Cumberstone.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
Cool. It's really cool, actually. But Spike Jester is... I think that card's totally limited playable, too. Rakdos can't really ask for much better than that. Certainly better than Rakdos. Yeah. Strictly... I guess you can't play it in monocolor like you can Tread Freak. Night Token, a Gruul Guildgate, and another Deadbridge Chant. So, 2 of that mythic, interestingly enough. Let's look at the first pickables in here. We've got Tithe Drinker, Hazda Snare Squad, Maze Behemoth, Deputy of Acquittals, Opal Lake Gatekeeper, Feral Animus, Rot Farm Skeleton. I think I would go with the Tithe Drinker. I'm big on Extort, like I said. It's a good 2-drop. We're not passing too much of an Orzhov signal at all, actually. So, just the Snare Squad, which isn't good in Orzhov anyway. Yeah. So, I think I'd go with the Tithe Drinker, first pick.
I feel like we might be really overvaluing Deputy of Acquittals as far as its first pick ability goes.
Yeah, you're right.
Every time we pulled it out as first pick, we never first pick it. So
we shouldn't.
I think
we shouldn't.
Yeah.
The reason being because it's in the end it's just a bear, and it is bouncing a creature, so it's kind of a pseudo combat trick since it removes that creature.
Removal.
Yeah,
but it's not.
It does counter removal too. You're right. That's relevant.
Yeah, I think truly out of first picks from this pack, it is more like Tithe Drinker. I do like Feral Animus.
Feral Animus is good on his own,
especially in Gruul.
Mm-hmm.
So Feral Animus, Tithe Drinker, Maze Behemoth, and Hazda Snare Squad. And I think out of this one I would pick the Tithe Drinker as well, because none of these really push anybody to go into Orzhov. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's Bane Alley Blackguard and Hazda Snare Squad, but Hazda Snare Squad wants you to be Boros, most likely, or Azorius. Actually, Azorius would really benefit from this, because they can detain some of your creatures, tap them down.
Tap the other ones that can't. That's true. Slow them down quite a bit.
But I do like Rot Farm Skeleton. I think it's a high pick. Might not be first pick, but I'd pick the Tithe Drinker.
Okay. So, Jake, honors of last pack here.
Woo!
And then we can get to our draft.
We're
going to be doing a triple Dragon's Maze draft, pre-release. These are going to be really unique, so you're not going to see it too often.
Beck and Call.
So Beck and Call is the last card. Overall, pretty lackluster rares that we pulled from these packs. Nothing exciting.
Yeah. Beck and Call is one of those that might have standard, or I'm sorry, modern applications, though, just because of Beck.
Yep. So Beck is 2 mana. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you may draw a card. This turn, you may draw a card. And then Call is 6 mana, put 4/1/1 white bird, creature tokens flying on the battlefield. Obviously cool. At 8 mana, you get 4/1/1 flyers and you draw 4 cards.
Okay. There's a Warped Physique in here, but I don't really consider that a first pickable card. Sorry. There was War Leader's Helix, which is totally first pickable. Carnage Gladiator, Battering Krasis, Boros Mastiff, and Nivix Cyclops. Those are the ones I think are first pickable. I think Nivix Cyclops is first pickable in a way where you want to push yourself into that strategy then. So it might not be the best for keeping yourself open. But it is a great card. Boros Mastiff is a great card as far as bears go.
Yep, just a 2 mana 2/2 Battalion lifelink.
But I think out of this pack, I'd probably pick up the Carnage Gladiator or the War Leader's Helix, and it's a really tough choice between those two.
The Carnage Gladiator is a 4 mana 4/2. Whenever a creature blocks, that creature's controller loses 1 life, and it has Regenerate for 3. And Jake and I just learned finally what the disadvantage of it is.
Yeah.
Whenever you block, you're
Yeah.
losing life too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but Carnage Gladiator, I agree, is very good. So what's it going to be? What is your first pick?
I think I picked the Gladiator.
Okay. I think I would pick the Helix just because I think it's so much damage and life wrapped into one card.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd pick the Helix over the Gladiator, but they're both very strong. I agree with that for sure. What was because it regens? Is that the main thing?
I think so. It has the potential to put more damage out there. It can also kill more creatures than War Leader's Helix.
Mm-hmm. Helix technically can't kill it if they have the mana up.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It's not even a versus thing though. It's just because Carnage Gladiator is a more consistent source of damage than War Leader's Helix, which they can actually also counter your Helix by removing the creature if you're targeting a creature. So Deputy of Acquittals stops War Leader's Helix, and I've countered Helixes before by sacking creatures and doing other stuff. So, you know, Helix is great if it's guaranteed to resolve, but Carnage Gladiator is always great when it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Okay. All right, let's move to the draft. Let's do this. So we're gonna do a triple Dragon's Maze draft. This is pretty unique. So it's only available this weekend that we're going to do it. And it's a really small set, so you get weird, I don't know.
You can build weird decks.
Yeah.
Oh, we missed it.
They fill pretty fast, though. So, yeah, it's really unique. It's cool. What we found is that it is a draw format. And in both our opinions, I think it's a draw format most of the time. I mean, if your opponent managed to come up with an aggressive deck, which I think is very difficult in triple Dragon's Maze, then you probably have to play. But for the most part, we've been drawing, and we've seen a couple other guys drawing too,
Yeah.
and they beat us. And we were winning with it.
The thing about triple Dragon's Maze is you don't have access to a wide breadth of cards with the keyword abilities on them.
Mm-hmm.
So Battering Krasis isn't as great.
Yeah.
As far as building around the evolve strategy. Tide Drinker is probably the best of the creatures that has the keyword mechanics on it. Yeah, it's sad that there's so many underwhelming cards in this set, but that build around the past sets, you know.
Looks like our draft is starting here, and our rare is Renegade Krasis. Also in this pack, we have Gruul Warchant, we have Toil and Trouble, Rot Farm Skeleton, Krasis Incubation,
so much
Thrashing Moss Dog, Punish the Enemy. Quite a few good cards. So I guess Renegade Krasis is very good, but not
gonna get that.
Yeah, not extremely relevant in this format in particular. If this were a full block, it would probably be much easier to justify picking it since it's monocolor. I think my pick is really Punish the Enemy because it's red. the only other red cards we're passing are Gruul Warchant and Morg Burst, so we're not passing too much of a signal. Keeps us on a mono color, and Punish the Enemy is very good. It's removal.
I think Punish the Enemy is a great card, and I'm happy to pick it up first.
Okay. There's also Thrashing Moss Dog, but like you said, there's a lot of green we're passing here, so it's more likely we're playing red something else.
Yeah, I
But
feel like red,
we'll
blue,
see.
red, white.
For now, we're just staying open and picking the best cards,
Yeah.
and Punish the Enemy is very good. So I feel comfortable first picking that. Alright, second pick, there's a Blood Scrivener, another Punish the Enemy, Thrashing Moss Dog.
There's Windrake here too.
Windrake, I think I'm cool with another Punish. Stay on color, it's still a powerful spell. It might seem like it's expensive, but I feel like it really does the job most of the time. Sometimes it just cleans up. Okay, next pick, we have Rebel Belt Maka. There's also Krull Warrior, Ubulsar Gatekeepers, Selesnya Guildgate.
I kind of want the Maka.
I'm cool with the Maka. Maka's, we talked about how versatile it is. It's an excellent card.
Yeah.
Especially, even if you get like 100 of them in this format, it's still
This is the best card that has that features one of the old keywords.
Yeah, and you see a lot of them because it's common and this is a small set. Happy to take the Maka. Alright, next pick. Wow, a third Punish the Enemy. There's also Blast of Genius and more.
Windrake.
I think at this point we take the Blast of Genius. Blast of Genius, the amount of value that you get out of this spell is absolutely insane. It's 6 mana, choose target creature or player, draw 3 cards, discard a card. It deals damage equal to the discarded card's converted mana cost to that creature or player. Really strong. I very much like this card. I think it's worth picking over the Punish the Enemy. Woodlock Crawler's annoying, but not currently against us.
I mean, Punish the Enemy is like a 2-for-1 all the time.
True. So that's potential, but I think there's enough value with Blast. I really do think this card is that amazing.
Differentiator.
Yep.
Okay.
Even though it's putting us into a second color, I think generating 3 cards out of it is absolutely insane.
There, Ascended Law Mage or Nivik Cyclops.
Okay, so we have Nivik Cyclops, Ascended Law Mage, Pilfered Plans, Hidden Strings, Maze of Bomb. Oh, accidentally picked the wrong card. Shit. Unfortunately, I really wanted the Nivik Cyclops actually because we had enough ways to make it work. Accidentally picked the wrong card. That really sucks. Did not mean to click that. I guess we can
still potentially play it, but
I mean, it's a powerful card. It's just totally not what I wanted, unfortunately. You can still go with these 3 colors potentially.
And it's actually not bad with Morg Burst.
You mean Blast of Genius, or no?
If we pick up Morg Burst,
it's actually not bad with Blast of Genius either.
It's real, and like actually Blast of Genius, Morg Burst work.
I really just didn't want to devote to a 3rd color there. I would have taken. We didn't pass anything super substantial. I don't think we passed the Nivik Cyclops, which would have been cool.
I would have actually rather taken the Ascended Law Mage there, to be honest, and like.
Maybe gone for that 3-color America,
because we're 1 of each color right now. You know, nothing costs 2 of anything. So,
despite the misclick, it's not the end of the world. Like we said, Maze Abomination is actually a strong card.
Very good. I really like it.
It's probably
it was a little early to pick it, but
it's probably the second best Maze creature. First being,
I think it's between Glider and. Behemoth.
The Glider gives evasion, so that one.
But Maze Abomination on its own is a 4/5, kills everything, you know. And this is one of those cards that Scab-Clan Giant can't kill.
High toughness Death Touch creatures are a very good commodity to have.
And the power is good too. So it's not like a 1/5 where your opponent's like, oh, I'll just not block it. You know.
So it still attacks well, and it punishes them harshly for blocking. So it is good. I like the removal we have right now. I'm pretty happy with it. Alright, so now we have Is It Guildgate? There's also Fatal Fumes, Catch and Release, which is good, and Weapon Surge. So it's Guildgate, Weapon Surge, or Catch and Release. Catch and Release is the only active treason effect in this set, and it's a rare. We're not most likely going to be able to make Release work, so I think you're right. Let's turn our Blast of Genius on, also start to turn on some Gatekeepers. We're going to see plenty of Gatekeepers, probably.
Yeah, I don't want anybody else to take advantage of the Gatekeepers as much as we got our butts handed to us that last time.
Yeah. Gatekeepers are very good in Triple Dragon's Maze. Every pack has a Guild Gate. So this next pack has Smeltwort Gatekeepers. It also has
2 Clue Stones.
Renounce the Guilds, which is that rare, and 2 relevant Clue Stones, Rakdos and Is It. I think we take the Gatekeepers.
Okay.
It's a 4-drop, yes, but I like active treason. Actually, that is the other active treason
Yeah.
effect in this set. But we already have one guild gate, possibly get another. All right, next pick, another gatekeeper. There's also Thrashing Moss Dog, Golgari Cluestone, Selesnya Cluestone. That's about it. Clear path, maybe. Let's take another gatekeeper. I'm okay with that. Like I said, we can pick gatekeepers up early and then focus fire on some gates. Just need to make sure we get 3. All right, so this next pack has Toil and Trouble. Target player draws 2. I feel like Toil and Trouble is probably the pick here.
Yeah.
There's also Hired Torturer, who's fine. Hired Torturer is fine. But let's take
I think Toil and Trouble is our best bet.
I agree.
Actually.
We can potentially play it.
Best if we get the Nivix Cyclops.
We can potentially play both sides, and the fact that it's like a Sign in Blood sometimes too is cool.
Hired Torturer.
Yeah, we can take the Hired Torturer. It looks like black is probably the open color. Morg Burst is in here too, which can be good value, but I'd like to pick up a Hired Torturer. 2/3 is good.
Late anyway.
Okay, next pick we have Off for the Guilds, Drown in Filth,
Cluestone.
Dimir Cluestone. Let's take the Dimir Cluestone. It actually works with what we've got so far. It makes the Maze Abomination pick look
we might want to ramp
like
a little
it
bit
actually
anyway.
worked. Let's take a second. Hired Torturer here. There's also nothing else relevant for us. Pilfered Plans, Profit and Loss, Azorius Cluestone. Let's take the Pilfered Plans.
Yeah. We look like the most awkward Rakdos deck ever.
Yeah, it looks like we're definitely more. We'll take a Bane Alley black card. It looks like we're getting a clear signal that black is open, which makes the Maze Abomination pick actually
relevant.
Feel like it was a good pick. And it looks like our splash for the blast still is possible.
Potentially splash for Pilfered Plans as well.
Maybe we go deep. It looks like we've worked out the 3 colors that we'd like to be in.
Rakdos.
And we can.
Grixis, I guess,
last pick off for the guilds is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an okay sideboard card.
Yeah. So we actually have decent fixing already. Double Gatekeeper makes me kind of happy early because now we can really just make sure we get 2 more and I'm happy. All right. So the next pack we've opened Virals. Also in this pack is a 3rd Smelt Ward. There's also another Robobelt Maka. There's also Maze Glider. There's also not much else. Okay, so really it's the pick here is Maze Glider, Smelt Ward, Gatekeeper, Robobelt. I don't think it's Smelt Ward. I don't think it's Azorius Guildgate. I think we take the Robobelt Maka or the Maze Glider. And which one do you think would be better?
I think that Robobelt's better.
I think I agree with that. Maze Glider is very good, but we don't have a ton of multicolored creatures, so even though it's pretty early, there's a chance we could get the Glider online. I think you're right. The Maka is just a really good card to have in multiples even. If we can pick up some more cheap creatures. The next pack has Warped Physique, another Smelt Ward Gatekeeper, Boros Guildgate,
another Maka.
And another Maka. I think we can just get some more Makas. There's also another Maze Glider if we finally want to branch into that, but we were getting more of a signal that black was open, at least pack 1. Let's take the Maka.
We need some earlier creatures to take advantage of our Makas.
You're true, and these aren't doing it, the Hired Torturers.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another Punish the Enemy. There's also Riot Piker, Maze, BMS, but that's not on color. Let's take another Punish. I know we could take the Piker here, but
okay.
It's a slow format, and I really do like Punish a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, with Clue Stones, we'll be able to get to it easier.
Flux Charger here, Weapon Surge.
So there's Flux Charger, Maze Rusher, Nivix Cyclops, Weapon Surge, Zertod Druid. I wish we could play, but we cannot, sadly. Flux Charger is another 4-drop, which is a little bit awkward. It's also another Maze Abomination, but we just don't really have a lot to support it. I'm not opposed to Flux Charger here.
Much better with our Maze Abomination.
It's also Haunter of Night Vale, which we can make work in here, notably. But let's take the Flux Charger with all those punish.
Both of those are really good with our Maze Abomination, Haunter and Flux
Charger.
But
true.
I do think that Flux Charger is better with punish.
Yeah, we have the spell support for Flux Charger, so I say we do it. It's a good blocker too.
Attach it to red.
Tons of 4-drops, unfortunately for us, but
we might not be playing Smelt Ward Gatekeepers if this keeps up. Though.
We can play Bane Alley Blackguard if we have. I mean, the Makas, remember, are also double as attacking tricks. Hired Torturers look pretty bad here right now alongside the Makas, but Hired Torture is fine as just a blocker and trades with something if they're playing early spells.
With Boros Mastiff and
not trade, kills.
Kills and Viashino First Blade after the first turn.
Yeah.
So it's not terrible against a couple of the aggro strategies. Kills or trades with Battering Crisis even after evolving once. So
We definitely need some more cheap
yeah,
creatures,
yeah,
but
for sure. But
we're
we're in a good way. Ooh, turn and burn.
okay. I think we take the turn and burn here. There's also Nivik Cyclops, Weapon Surge, Maze Rusher, and Maze Abomination in here. But you're right, turn and burn is just a really powerful removal
Yeah.
spell. Really happy to see that and pick that up. Alright, the next pack has Runner's Bane. There's also
Another blackguard.
another Blackguard, Toil and Trouble, and a Maze Rusher. I think we can probably take the Runner's Bane, just get more removal, but I don't think we, just for diversity as well.
I like
I'm
Runner's
not
Bane here.
super excited about Bane Alley, but Blackguard and Maze Rusher seems a little bit unnecessary at this point, at this moment. Let's take the Runner's Bane. It's a playable removal spell, in my opinion. We have tons of removal now, too. Alright, the next pack has Nivik Cyclops, and another Blast of Genius, Hidden Strings.
This is our
Pilfered
Nivik
Plans.
Cyclops one, I think.
We could also take another Blast of Genius. I think at this point I think we actually do it.
Why?
Because it's that powerful. It really is that powerful.
I'm just looking at the things we want to discard to it, and it doesn't look like there's much that we want to be discarding. Like, I understand
We have so
it
many
as
4, 5, 6.
kill spell, but like punish the enemy is already like really strong, and we'd rather play those than discard them.
I really
for
think
5
it's that
damage.
powerful, but I guess you're right. We need some more early game. Nivix works well with what we've got, so we can take it. Blast of Genius is just so remarkably strong. I really cannot stress enough how powerful that card is. It's so much value wrapped into one. Drawing 3, nuking a creature, it's just insane. Completely flips the board state. Oh, kill your most powerful creature, and I just got extra cards out of that deal. Insanely strong. Especially with the clue stones, and considering this is a slower format. But we are a little bit short on win cons, which is a good reason to take the Nivik Cyclops. Looks like we get another one here. It's also Weapon Surge and Maze Rusher, but let's take another Cyclops.
Yeah.
With the triple punish the enemy,
I'd really like
and the
to
Pilfered
actually
Plans, and
replace the hired torturers if possible, or at least get rid of one. So
yeah,
if we
no,
can
I
pick up
agree.
more Cyclops.
Yep.
More Cyclopes.
More Cyclopes.
And we
Haven't
might not
seen any
necessarily-
other gates really, surprisingly, or good ones. Could take is it
I think we
Cluestone
need
here?
a Cluestone.
We can also take the Maze Glider.
Either one's
It's
fine.
fine
I
with
guess.
the Nivik Cyclops, and well, Flux Charger already has it. So yeah, I guess that's true. We could take the Cluestone, help us get to our punish easier. Let's do that.
If we get a second Cluestone, we're done with Cluestones. Ish.
Now there's.
Crypt Incursion for the person playing Virals.
Let's just take Izzet Cluestone.
Okay.
Possibly play 3 if we hard up for stuff to play. And this we get a
Maze
Crypt Incursion
Behemoth
anyway, I
or
guess.
Feral Animus. I think this is a hate pack. Like, what are we gonna hate? Because I don't want to see.
But you just said we passive rolls. I've heard it's better, at least according to Frankel, to pick up a sideboard card rather than hating it.
out?
Yeah.
Okay. I just think Crypt Incursions.
I think if you can sideboard it, it's better to pick it. All right, Weapon Surge for sure here. There's also Leave Decree and Phyto Burst and Azorius Cluestone.
This is
But
actually
Weapon
deep
Surge with
back considering how
our
late it is.
Cyclops is just going to be excellent.
Nice.
We get a third Nivik Cyclops, so
Let's take it.
yeah. So now we can really focus fire on that strategy. Probably hide the Torturers.
Another
Last pick, a
Abomination.
Maze Abomination, is pretty impressive.
Do you think we'll be playing Rusher? 'Cause
We
I
may
think
not even be playing black necessarily. May not have to.
It's true.
We could just be Izzet. And we look like we picked up
Pick out Pilfered Plans.
there's a Stomping
Far
Ground
and
here,
Away
which is a
also.
couple tickets, but probably don't need it. Okay, Far and Away is actually just a really powerful effect. That's going to be worth the Black Splash. We have the Namir Cluestone. We have a Guild Gate already to help us with that. Stomping Ground is worth like a few tickets. Actually, let me see how much it's worth. If it's worth like 4 still, I might just take it because these are so expensive. It's a little less than 3, so we can pick something better here. I think we take the Far and Away. We have the Cyclops strategy. We can splash for black. It's very powerful.
And actually, if we got both modes on,
And we've tabled
with
this.
Nivik
I mean, this was
Cyclops,
close to a last pick, so we're gonna
let's
table
take
it.
that.
Far and Away is really good. All right, second pick, Ixava's in here.
Nivik
We can
Cyclops,
actually make Ixava work, even though it's just a 4-mana 4/4 attacker.
First Strike Haste is good enough.
Probably tabling this one too. Table the last one. It's also Boros Guildgate, just play to turn on our gatekeepers, but we might be just swapping them out. Exava is a really strong, it's probably worthy of
It'd be
picking here.
worth
There's
picking
also
up.
another Weapon Surge, which I would like to turn on the Cyclops. Well, let's take the Exava.
Yeah.
We could replace a Gatekeeper. It's a strong spell. Wow.
She's actually really good with
Mirko
Maze.
Vosk in here. Another
Maze
Blasted
Abomination.
Genius. Another Punish the Enemy. Armed and Dangerous, but can't really make that work. Could take just the Mirko Vosk because it's crippling on its own. It's a multicolor spell.
5-drop.
So you get it Death Touch with our double Maze Abomination.
And it has good defense. Like, Exava's really great with Maze Abomination, actually, too.
I can see Mirko Vosk. He just takes the game over if he gets in a couple times.
Yeah, people are
And we can
definitely
get him on turn 4. Let's take Mirko Vosk.
taking
He's
gates
powerful.
out of these. Demir Guildgate.
Next, we've got Demir Guildgate. There's also Rakdos Drake, Pilfered Plans, Opal Lake Gatekeeper. Not much else. So we're going to take the Guildgate, get some more fixing. We do want to make the black work in here. Alright, so now it's Spike Jester, Ubulsar Gatekeeper. There's also Gruul Guildgate, which we can just take to turn on our Gatekeepers. There's also another Maka, though, as well, which I did say we can play pretty infinitely. They don't work as well with the Nivix Cyclops.
Yeah.
They work fine with them, but just not as well.
At least they're only 1 red to...
And Spike
Blood
Jester
Rush,
is totally playable as well. Could just get the third Guildgate now to turn on the...
I don't mind that.
But we might be cutting them, honestly.
Okay, well then I'd rather have the Rubble Belt Maka than the Spike Jester. Because
Okay.
Nivix Cyclops kills Spike Jester.
Alright, let's take another Maka then.
Cyclops.
We have Cyclops now, Hidden Strings, Azorius Guildgate to
Hidden
get the third
Strings.
gate. But I think at this point, let's hide the Gatekeepers. They probably aren't necessary. We're probably not playing 3 Clue Stones, maybe just 2.
Hidden Strings works well with Cyclops.
Nivix Cyclops might just be the route to go
Yeah.
with Punish. Let's
We have
just
so
go for
many
that
Punish.
route. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have so many spells at this point
Weapon
too.
Surge too.
And they're just such good blockers.
Yeah.
This is an interesting deck. Plenty of good cards to choose from. We may be able to consolidate, lower our curve a little bit. Really, we can really focus on these Nivix Cyclops. So we can take a Pilfered Plans just to make us be able to attack with Nivix Cyclops, give us more value. Rakdos Drake, though, might be the pick because it's an evasive creature. We're a tad short, but I don't know. I'm kind of feeling the Pilfered
Yeah,
Plans.
I think plans.
Okay, now we have Ubulsar Gatekeeper in case we get another.
All of the guilds works well with Nivix Cyclops too.
It's true. It's okay. I don't know if we're gonna have
All four.
space for it anyway. Probably don't have space. Ubulsar's decent, not even that decent against us, I guess, but it blocks like Mach. Let's just take the Gatekeeper in case we find a third gate magically. Hidden Strings actually
take
works
that.
decently
Let's-
well
yeah.
with, and we already have a couple Pilfered Plans. There's also Rakdos Cluestone, which is playable in here, but we already have enough. All right, let's take the Hidden Strings. Weapon Surge, Nivix Cyclops the 5th. Do we want that? Let's count our spells. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
None there.
8, 9, 10,
11.
11. Yeah, that's enough spells. Let's take the Nivix. I like it. We're going gung ho that route. We may be able
One more
to.
Weapon Surge.
We may be able to really minimize black in this deck.
I would think so.
Just possibly because we can still play this as just far. We can take out the Pilfered Plans potentially, and if we can find maybe 1 or 2 more spells, we probably take out the Runner's Bane at this point. That's not what we're really about. We're much more about just instants and sorceries. Armed
Let's
is
do
cool
Armed.
with the Nivix.
Works well with Flux Charger too.
Yeah, all right. You're right. That's a good 10 damage out of nowhere.
Mm.
For cheap.
Works great with Hidden Strings too. Actually, multiple spells in one turn works really great with Nivix Cyclops too.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot that he gets bigger.
Yeah.
So maybe Weapon Surge wouldn't have been. Another Weapon Surge wouldn't have been the worst choice.
We might still be able to pick one more up.
Possibly. All right, now we have Rakdos Drake, which we can play.
Pick
But
up
it's-
Wear and Tear for sideboard against Clue Stones. I mean, in a pinch, you could
Possibly.
even use it.
Let's
to
take the
trigger it on.
Drake just in case, because I think we're probably cutting some Clue Stones, and it's decent against us. We really don't have much flying protection beyond Mirko Vosk.
Uncovered Clues?
Yeah, if any deck was going to play it, I guess this would be the one. We're not likely to play it, though. I think we have enough value beyond it. I may not play the Clue Stones at all in this deck.
Might not have to.
And probably not the Maze Abominations either, even though they are good. Or the Maze Rusher. We might be able to just get away with a bunch of spells, Nivix Cycle. Like, this is a really interesting deck. We want to play all of our instants and sorceries, is really what it boils down to.
Well, the Flux Charger helps a lot, because that can still attack, you know.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, we know what we're doing at this point. We know what our strategy is. I do like the Hidden Strings, actually. Alright.
That actually is not bad with our million Nivix Cyclopses either.
True.
It's not great.
It's sideboardable.
Yeah.
Probably not super playable in the Triple Dragon's Maze format. So, because this is such a small set, you end up with crazy decks like this. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's cool that we got 2 different guild leaders. 2 of the rare ones. Let's take the Nivix. Flux Charger, Blast of Genius, Armed. Yes. Yes. Probably. Let's get the Makas in there. Probably not the Gatekeepers. Punish goes in. Hidden Strings we're doing. Possibly that, but maybe not. We're only short 1 card right now. We only have 12 creatures, too. Which is a little bit short. I don't know. Guess we could pick the Maze Abomination. Yeah. So we can pick the Maze Abomination. It actually gives these things Death Touch on defense, so that's actually relevant. Let's count our spells real quick here and make sure we have a good amount. Non-creature spells, I mean. So no 2-drop creatures, I think it's still okay in this format only.
Once we get to Nivix Cyclops, it really won't matter.
Yep. And having 5 of them makes me feel more comfortable with that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is enough, in my opinion, to make Nivix Cyclops work reasonably.
We just have to kind of slow roll them, play out a bunch of Cyclopses.
I mean, I do kind of want Pilfered Plans in here too, but...
We could take it out in place of Toil Trouble. But
this also generates card draw,
yeah.
and we can actually potentially...
6 mana for...
Yeah.
You lose 2 life and take 2 extra damage plus your hand size.
Yep, I agree. Okay. This might be the best build we have. It's a little bit short on creatures, but it's okay. It looks a little clunky.
Yeah,
but I think...
If this is a format to try a clunky deck,
yeah.
You know...
No, you're right. And Mirko's a good finisher. Exava's a good attacker. Nivix Cyclops is a good wall to get through.
All of our 3-drops and
this
Flux
rebuilds.
Exava,
Punish is good.
Everything is pretty much good with Maze Abomination.
Okay. I can be satisfied with this. Quite the curve. Alright, so we're tons of red, so we're definitely base red. Very little black. This technically played straight blue, so this is more likely we want to play it with the black, so I guess it's kind of a black spell. But that's really it. We don't have a ton of black, so we probably only need maybe 2 more black sources.
Yeah.
You think?
I think 2, because there's
3
only
total. Does that seem right though?
3 total cards that you really need to cast with black.
True, but I would like to play Exava as soon as I can. I would like to play Mirko Bosk as soon as I can.
Yeah.
I might do 3. I'm not sure. Not doing a green, that's for sure. We need the red. But then this is 6 blue, 9 red, 4 black. That might be reasonable. I think I could probably get away with that. Kind of would like 5 red, but I do want the 6 blue for all these Nivix Cyclops. We need to make sure we hit that. I can't really decide if I want 3 black sources or if I want 3 black sources, 5 blue sources, or I guess 6 blue, 4 black sources, 6 blue sources, or 3 black sources, 7 blue sources. I mean, we really do need to hit the Cyclops as soon as possible.
You only need 1 red. You know, you could cut to 7.
Okay, and then maybe add 1 more blue.
Yeah.
How about okay? How about
7,
this?
7, and 4. That's what that is, right?
No, 8 red.
Oh yeah.
7 blue, 4 black. Yeah, that might be the best route we've got. Okay. So overall, we're just going to read the deck off to you before we end this podcast. Weapon Surge, Turn and Burn, Far and Away, Hidden Strings, Armed and Dangerous, Toil and Trouble, 5 Nivix Cyclops, Exava, Rakdos, Blood Witch, Flux Charger, 4 Rubble Belt Maka, 3 Punish the Enemy, Miracle Vosk, Blast of Genius, Maze Abomination. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter at SeemsGoodMagic. Email me, Mortarpod at SeemsGoodMagic.com if you have any criticisms or anything you'd like to see. Like I said, this one's more just for fun for you to watch because there's not much to learn from it.
Yeah,
since
you won't
Triple
be
Dragon's
doing
Maze is just going to be going away. But it's cool to it's fun.
It's
Just
always
as
fun.
like-
to
it's
do
a
the
novelty.
small sets,
It's a novelty
once
thing.
in a while.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I can't wait to do full block for you guys. Jake and I are going to start streaming that as soon as it's possible. Catch us live streaming Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. Central Time. If you want to support me, go to my eBay store at SeemsGoodMagic.com and just purchase some playsets and singles. I'm in the process of starting an MTGO bot. I need to look how difficult that is first, but I'm looking into that. So, all right, with that, done with the podcast. See you guys soon.
Later.